Welcome to Rob and Tony's Cinematic Adventure. I'm Rob Wilson.
And I am Tony the Quano.
So, Tony, we are going to round out the Deadpool trilogy with the most recent release, the one that just came out this summer and was just like a few weeks ago released on DVD and Blu-ray and 4K Ultra HD. And actually just like within the last week or so, released on Disney+. So,
yeah, it's now
if you
making the rounds, on video on demand.
So if you haven't seen it yet, you got plenty of places to watch it. But that is Deadpool and Wolverine.
And considering it's now the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time.
Yeah, finally surpassed Passion of the Christ.
You have probably seen it. I mean, so.
Yeah, I love it. In the second one, he's talking about how the ratings for the first Deadpool were right. It was right below the Passion of the Christ.
That's right.
He's like, Passion of the Christ and us. And then this one, it shot above Passion of the Christ pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly. I would think, too, that it's, even adjusted for inflation, it's probably still above that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not, but so. I haven't looked at all the international numbers. It was a massive hit, and it's a massive hit I actually did not see in theaters, so.
Yeah.
I had to watch it.
I saw it 5 times in theaters.
You do. So.
Yeah, I saw it 5 times in theaters. Because I mean, you get bored on a weekend and you want to see a movie and there's no new movies out that you haven't seen yet, so you just go and keep on watching the ones that you loved while they're still in theaters.
Especially since I think there's the quality, general quality in some ways is not quite the same as it was, even 10 years ago, but definitely going back, 15, 20 years ago. And it's funny, they even talk about that in this movie about, entering the Marvel Cinematic Universe at a low point.
Yeah, but I mean, it is definitely, I have enjoyed all of the MCU movies. All right. Every one of them that's come out, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed them. So, there are some that I've enjoyed way more than others.
Right.
But yeah, especially since Endgame, they have dipped in quality, but I've still enjoyed them,
So I haven't seen all of them, as you know, to put it out there, like really just in the last 10 years since my oldest was born, just finding the time to kind of fit everything in has been a little more difficult. So I've been very selective about what I've watched.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Deadpool movies kind of slipped through the cracks, even though I wanted to see them. And so now I'm glad I kind of rounded this out. I did see, obviously, Endgame and Infinity War, and has been able to catch up on some of the other Marvel movies in there. But even prior to the Infinity Saga, I even enjoyed some of the lesser efforts, even Thor 2.
Yeah.
And
which has actually been making a comeback lately because they've been tying so many things to that movie lately.
Yes. I'm actually a big fan of the first Thor movie.
Yeah, me too.
I really like what Kenneth Branagh did with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it was well regarded enough, but I was a big fan of it. So and it makes sense that Thor 2, they've done a lot with more of the cosmic stuff within the MCU.
And it's funny we're talking about Thor because Thor is he has an important part to play in this movie.
He does. But, I've actually, I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about this when we brought this up. I'm going to bring it up later. But the lesser regarded movies, there is a point to them ultimately. So I'll leave that there for now. So
yes,
there's something that happens within the movie that makes me think about that. So
yes, definitely. But yeah, this is the first Deadpool movie that's officially part of the MCU and that was made as an MCU movie. The other two, of course, are grandfathered in because of this movie.
Yes.
But and this was the first official MCU Deadpool movie.
Interesting about this is that, so the director, it's funny, there's a different director for each one of these movies.
Yeah.
This one's Sean, Levy. And I guess the first movies I saw from him were like the Night at the Museum movies, right? Mm-hmm. And he's done a bunch of other movies, and it's funny. Is this his first R-rated movie he's directed?
It might be.
He's done some irreverent stuff in a way, but a lot of his other movies have been kind of family friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Not this.
Yeah. What I think is great is I think is just hilarious is so the MCU has been going on since 2008.
Yeah, it's crazy.
In all that time, there has only been one F-bomb dropped in all those movies. And that was in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Yes. Now, there have been other times when it's almost been dropped, but something has covered it up or whatever. The only time that it's clearly been said was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So only one F-bomb in all of the MCU. Then they released Deadpool and Wolverine. And that total jumped to 119.
Wait. There's only 118 fucks in this movie?
There are only 118 fucks in this movie. It feels like there's more, but there's only 118 in this movie. In this one movie.
All right, then. Because I'm glad he brought that up, because I was thinking after watching this a few nights ago, it's like, where's this rank in the F-bomb meter? Mostly because I was thinking about Pulp Fiction and Goodfellas. And Goodfellas has over 200 F-bombs. I'm pretty sure that about 95% of those were from Joe Pesci.
Oh, yeah.
But Pulp Fiction spreads them around because he got Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. And Big Rames.
Yep.
But yeah, 118.
118.
So, as I was saying about Sean Levy, though, like most of his movies he's produced through his company were produced through 20th Century Fox, not this. So, but yeah, no, I thought it's there's a lot of blood in this movie too.
There is a lot of blood in this movie.
Not sure how you account for the blood.
I mean,
comparing this to like Saving Private Ryan
or
right?
Kill Bill.
Which probably has more than 118 bucks.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
Probably. I mean, any Tarantino movie probably does, except maybe Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah,
that one had a few, but it didn't have as many fucks as his movies normally do.
No.
But yeah, so I loved how they, like with this movie, it was sort of the perfect way to integrate everything that happened on the Fox side in with the MCU.
I would agree, because overall, I get iffy sometimes about how you integrate the multiverse. I have reservations about a lot of it, how it's handled sometimes. And I think a movie like this, or a series and character, such as Deadpool, it's very self-aware. It's breaking the fourth wall. That doesn't take itself too seriously. Is a perfect vehicle to do it. Yeah. And it's funny, like, I actually think this movie, though, it's like, it's the stakes in some ways feel the highest. Yeah, they do. So they do. I mean, we'll get into why that is, but yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's really a return to form for the MCU also, because because like we were saying, especially since Endgame, the quality has dipped. It's still been all enjoyable in my opinion, but there are others from before Endgame that were way better than some of the ones that came out after Endgame. But this one is like right back up there with the top ones of all the MCU. Right. It's not that this necessarily been like really bad movies, but it just lacked that elite movie. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, even the worst MCU movie is still better than the best movie of a lot of other series. A lot of other franchises. Yeah. Speed 2 Cruise Control. Sorry, Jan de Bont. We'll bring Speed 2 up probably plenty of times in this series. Yeah, probably. But yeah, Jan de Bont, you've made some fantastic movies also. Yeah, no, we did Twister, and one day we will do Speed. Yes. So probably next summer's blockbuster series, I think, would be a perfect time to do Speed. Yes, it probably would be. But maybe 2 summers from now. I don't know, but we love Speed. Maybe even before the summer. I don't know. Maybe even before. Maybe one of us will ride a bus and we'll be like, you know what? We should do Speed. I live in a city and I haven't ridden a city bus. Like, last city bus I rode was in Rome. That was a long time ago. So, you know what? No, sorry, Montreal. No. I think I rode in Montreal. Okay. Anyway. So there is a city bus in this movie. There's actually an excellent scene revolving around a city bus in this movie. Or including a city bus in this movie. But yeah, so I realized when we were doing the Deadpool 2 episode, I never got to, because when we were talking about the first Deadpool episode, I said I had a fun story to share about my first viewing of Deadpool 2. That's right, you did say that. And I forgot to share it during Deadpool 2. Well, so if you don't mind, I'm going to share it now. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. Heart. Don't know what one of the Planeteers with a monkey had to do with sharing is caring, but How many episodes have we referenced Heart?
Not enough. Probably about as many as we've referenced the Big Lebowski episode.
Yeah. Anyway, on to your story.
But yeah, so the first time that I saw Deadpool 2, so I saw all three of the Deadpool movies. I saw with my friend Ryan.
Okay.
All right, all three of them. The first time we saw them, we saw them together, and so I believe each one of them was opening day. I know 2 and 3 were opening day, but I'm pretty sure the first one was opening day also. But so when we went to see the second one, Ryan's brother joined us for it.
Okay.
I don't know if he had seen the first one before going with us to the second one, but so Ryan's brother had he had enjoyed a few beers before we went to the theater, and he then got some more beer when we were at the theater.
Hey, why not?
Yeah. So we get about halfway into the movie, and he's pretty out of it, right? So Ryan and I are kind of just, while we're watching the movie, we're kind of just laughing at him too. But at one point, his brother gets up because he needs to go to the bathroom. Actually, he first grabs his empty beer cup and attempts to urinate into the cup. In the middle of the theater,
go there.
Like
okay.
he goes to motion to do. He doesn't actually whip it out or anything like that, but he goes like he pulls it down like he's going to, and Ryan stopped him.
I mean, there's got to be more than 12 ounces in that bladder. I mean,
Yeah,
it's going to be like a Dumb and Dumber,
Oh, it was a big old cup that he had. That
okay. Oh yeah,
he got one of the big ones. It was like
it is a movie theater.
Yeah, it was like
64 ounce thing.
Yeah, it wasn't a 64 ounce cup. It was like maybe a 22, 24.
All right. Anyway,
something like that. But yeah, so he attempts to do that. Ryan stopped him. And so he gets up and he goes to walk out to go to the bathroom.
Obviously.
Walks over like he's walking toward the door, but turns the wrong way, walks up toward the screen, toward the movie screen, into the corner by the emergency exit. And, starts acting like he's about to piss in the corner.
Hey.
So Ryan had to run up there and catch him and lead him to the exit so he could go and find the bathroom. So, yeah, that was that was my interesting story for Deadpool 2. So yeah, he was able to go and find the bathroom and do his business in there and then come back and finish the rest of the movie.
Excellent.
But,
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
And he was not banned from the theater or arrested.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so for Deadpool 3, Ryan and I saw that one again on opening night. We didn't have his brother with us this time. But we were at the same theater that we saw Deadpool 2. But
so I am well past some of these days thinking about that incident.
Mm-hmm.
But I now have that urge, like the next time I'm in a public restroom, just to scream, "I'm peeing in public."
Do it.
We will be doing that movie one day as well.
Yes.
You don't know what that is? You gotta stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that movie.
And not the John Ritter movie.
No. But anyway, a day or two before Deadpool and Wolverine came out, Ryan and I went to Dave & Buster's because they had a claw game that had Deadpool and Wolverine stuff in it. All
right. Nice.
So we were going to go and see what kind of stuff we could get from there. And we get there and it had, it was just a bunch of boxes, but on the boxes it had a picture of what was in the box. And there were 3 different things in there. There was a set of the charm bracelets with the best friend's heart with Deadpool and Wolverine, half as Deadpool, half as Wolverine, like the poster had. But instead of necklaces, it was charm bracelets. And then they had pins that were the same thing, like lapel pins.
Okay.
That one was Deadpool half, one was Wolverine half, and they made the heart if you put them together. And then they had a keychain. That was, just the round. It was the Deadpool symbol with the Wolverine slash through it, like the claws.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, we played the claw game and ended up getting all of the items out of there, like all the different ones. So we then exchanged the opposite of like what like he gave me his Wolverine charm bracelet that was too small for my wrist because I'm a man and I have like normal man-sized wrists and it was made for children. But he has really skinny wrists, so he was able to wear the Deadpool one.
That's appropriate.
So I put the Wolverine one on 3 of my fingers because that's what it would fit on. And then I gave him my Deadpool pin that I had gotten. I gave him my Wolverine pin, and I kept my Deadpool one so that we each have a Deadpool and a Wolverine, half. Because they were the same size. Yeah. The charms and the pins were the same size. Right. And then we each got one of the keychains. And then, then after Dave & Buster's, we went bowling, and he was wearing the charm bracelet the whole time we were bowling, and I had it in my hand the whole time that we were bowling.
I like it.
It's crazy. But then the next day when we went and saw the movie, we wore the pins. I wore my Deadpool pin. He wore the Wolverine hat.
Of course. Good call.
And we even wore them on the sides of our shirts that like where we were sitting in the theater next to each other. So like I had mine on my left side. He had his on his right side.
Yeah.
So that, looking at them, it's like matched. They would go and match, hook together. Because we try to do fun stuff for movies like that. And let me tell you, it takes a real man to wear a charm bracelet bowling.
Yes. In your fingers. Yeah. There you go.
I don't know how he could fit that thing around his wrist.
Hey.
But no, it's fun. It was fun. But yeah, so that was my experiences seeing the second and third Deadpool movies.
All right.
You, of course, just watched it just like recently.
Yes. Very recently, within the last week. So I watched it kind of in 2 parts. I actually watched the intro and then watched the rest of it later. Because I thought, oh wait, no, it's going to be too long. I got to stop it. So, I watched the opening of it and then watched the rest. So,
okay.
And I'm going to say it right now. I think this was my favorite of the 3 movies.
Me too. It was my favorite of the 3.
As I said earlier, I think it ups the stakes a little bit. I think it rounds everything out. Like, if they don't have another one, I'm perfectly fine. In some ways, I don't want them to do another one. Mm-hmm. They put it right where it needed to be, I think.
I do want the characters to show up in other movies.
Yes, yeah. No, they can show up in other movies. But, do we need a completely eccentric Daredevil movie? Daredevil. We do need another Daredevil.
Yes, we do need a Daredevil movie. We're getting a Daredevil show.
Yes. Yeah, we need another season. And the Daredevil show
was amazing.
It was just amazing.
It was awesome. And yeah, we're getting Daredevil Born Again, which is
my
supposed to be like a continuation somewhat of it.
Which is I've been hoping for that the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Once they started it because of how they had all set up. It's my probably my absolutely favorite Marvel comic storyline.
Yeah, it's
Born Again. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Anyway,
this isn't the Daredevil episode.
Yeah, if there's not another Deadpool standalone movie, I'm okay with that. And I guess in some ways it was a tandem movie. It's not just Deadpool. It's Wolverine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and both have an equal part in this movie.
And Wolverine, he finally gets to wear his suit. So.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for the spoiler, but
yeah, I mean, if you've seen the trailers,
yeah,
he's finally in the yellow and blue.
Yes, no, it's my favorite, and I think part of it's having it is the tandem aspect of it,
and it's what Deadpool's been begging for 2 movies now.
Yes, it has. It completes it. Like, I think that's the thing about this trilogy is that it, in some ways, so like. Unfortunately, I thought that the Scream trilogy couldn't pull it off. Understanding what each of the movies within the series kind of does.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of did it with Scream 2. It failed with Scream 3. This, and it's funny because it's different directors, but, kind of keeping the same creative team behind it.
Yeah.
On the story end. Kind of allowed each movie to be very distinctive in its own right. So, it also has the best villain. So.
Yeah.
2 villains.
Yeah.
Really. So.
Yeah.
Even though this one, sadly, we don't really get, the supporting cast in the first 2 movies. It's just far more in the background.
Yeah, they're really just at the beginning and end.
But this, Another great supporting cast in this movie.
Yes,
So.
yes, there is. Yes, there is. And yeah, and I was kind of worried about this one when it was first announced, with it, being Disney and all, making a Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
With it, because they hadn't done an R-rated MCU movie yet.
They had not done one.
And that was part of the whole reason for the Once Upon a Deadpool version of Deadpool 2.
Right.
To see if a PG-13 Deadpool could work. And so I was worried that they were going to, when they announced it, that they were going to make it a PG-13 one, or, that they were going to really dial it down from the previous movies. And they didn't.
They did not.
They did not, and it was fantastic, and I'm so glad that they didn't. And I loved all the Disney jokes in this movie. All the little digs at Disney and all that. It's just so, like, it shows, that they have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
They're willing, they're willing to, make jokes about themselves.
Yeah. But, like, you already had, like, the Guardians trilogy movies. Like, they've leaned into that. They should understand, like, they can channel that into something like Deadpool. Get deeper with it. So, yeah.
So, I guess we might as well get into it. So,
we should.
Before we get started, though, spoiler alert. If you have not seen Deadpool and Wolverine and you do not want to be spoiled, then pause the podcast, watch the movie, come back and listen. If you have seen the movie or you don't mind being spoiled, then just keep on listening, as we will be talking about the beginning, middle, and end. We will be talking about the entire movie, so you have been warned.
And again, like, it's massively successful, but I'm sure there's people out there that haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
That, if you haven't, maybe seen the first two, maybe just go ahead and watch it on, Disney Plus before, or just buy the, go on Amazon, buy your 4K.
Or, I'm sure you probably have a friend that owns it or something. See if you can borrow it.
I watched it from your, what you downloaded to my Fandango.
Yeah.
So, but I like how the movie, though, again, like the other two, starts with what's actually a flashback.
Yes. Yeah. All three of them start with what's actually, it starts out, it starts out in the present day, and then it goes to a flashback. That's and then meets up with it, just like the other ones.
And this time, he's trying to dig up, a hero.
Yes.
We find out quickly that it's, Logan. It's Wolverine.
He's like, I know you're wondering how we can honor Wolverine's sacrifice with dignity. Well, we're not.
And no, they don't.
They don't. So he's digging him up, not believing that he's dead. He's in the same spot where, spoiler alert for Logan, where he had fallen at the end of Logan and was buried.
There's something noble about these movies, just kind of understanding that they are movies.
Yeah. So he's digging him up, not believing that he's dead, till he finds his skeleton.
Adamantium and all.
His adamantium-laced skeleton. And it's confirmed that, yes, he's dead.
And thankfully, there was the adamantium, because Deadpool is going to need the adamantium.
Yes, Deadpool's going to need the adamantium. Because then, right after he unearths Wolverine's remains, the TVA shows up, the Time Variance Authority. If you've watched Loki, then you know all about the TVA. But if you haven't watched Loki, then the TVA is basically,
you don't know anything.
Yeah, they're basically an agency that exists, outside of time, and they basically monitor the timelines and, correct things that are wrong with different timelines. But they're after Deadpool.
Yeah, he's jumping where he doesn't need to be. So, and so then fight ensues, and
So yeah, he promises. They tell him to turn over his weapons, and he refuses to do that. But he promises not to use them.
He doesn't promise that he won't use the
other weapons. He doesn't promise that he won't use not his weapons. So yeah, he uses in his fight against the TVA. He uses Wolverine. He breaks off different bones from his body and uses them in different ways to kill all the TVA agents that are after him while dancing to Bye Bye Bye.
Yes. What a perfect choice.
Yes.
But there's a lot of, I love the use of late 90s, early 2000s music in this movie. In some ways, I think this movie was made specifically for guys that, are in their 40s.
Yeah.
Or pushing 40.
Yeah, definitely. And what's funny is...
Even though no guys I know actually listen to NSYNC, but still.
Did you see that? So after Deadpool 2 came out, because, Celine Dion did the opening credits song for that.
Yes.
From Ashes. It's the name of the song. And so there was a music video that was made after the movie came out, after Deadpool 2, of, Celine Dion singing that song, like on a stage. And, Deadpool comes out and he's like dancing behind her and all this. And then at the end of the song, he starts complaining to Celine Dion that she is too good for a Deadpool movie. She's too good of an artist to be wasting her time with a Deadpool movie. And then in the next one, he's going to get in sync.
He got in sync.
So yeah. And the next one, he got in sync. But yeah, if you haven't seen that music video, look it up on YouTube. It's funny.
All right. We'll mention the other artists he got for this movie.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll mention it later. But
yes.
But yeah, so NSYNC's Bye 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 is playing while the credits are rolling and Deadpool's dancing and killing TVA agents. And what
you don't get,
I was kind of
you don't get the same pithy.
Yeah, I was about to say that too.
That's the one thing that I missed.
Yeah, me too. You don't have the crazy credits like you did in the other ones. This is actually the people's names.
Yeah.
Which, makes sense, but it would be better if it was the same way as the first two movies. But still, fantastic credit sequence. Love this credit sequence.
They don't even finish the fight, right? Because then, it kind of cuts back.
Yeah, because he
gets there.
Yeah, because after he kills a bunch of them, then he puts on Wolverine's claws. He straps his forearms to the tops of his forearms, and he extends the claws.
His forks, as he will call them later.
Yes. And, as he strikes the Wolverine pose right in front of the Wolverine and Deadpool logo, then it goes into the flashback.
Yes.
So we don't actually see the end of this fight until later.
And what shows too is that this movie does take place. It jumps forward from Deadpool 2 from five years, right?
No, so
I think it's a time jump.
Is a 6-year time jump, but yeah. So the first thing that we see, at the end of Deadpool 2, after Negasonic had fixed the time watch, had fixed Cable's time watch, during his jumps in that last montage, post credits montage, I guess after he's done with all those, he jumped to Earth 616, which is the sacred timeline, which was the main MCU universe,
which is the MCU timeline. Yes, yeah. Thank you.
Because Deadpool, of course, first. Yeah, because Deadpool, of course, lives in the Deadpool, of course, lives in the Fox universe, which is classified. No, it's not. It's classified as Earth 10005.
Right.
And Earth 616 is the main MCU universe, aka the sacred timeline.
With Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr. and
all the other MCU movies have taken place in the sacred timeline.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got him in Happy Hogan's office at Stark.
That's right. Yeah, you got Jon Favreau there. Mm-hmm. It's great, and it's an interview because he wants to be an Avenger.
Yes, he wants to be an Avenger. So he's at Stark Industries.
He's an interview, like you said,
and
he's in a suit.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have his mask on.
Yep.
Now, one thing that's interesting, is that he has his suit on, but he's doesn't have the top button.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
He's got the tie a little loose, but he's making a passionate case.
Yes. And what I think is interesting, though, is that Time Watch, it doesn't just allow the user to travel through time, but apparently it also allows them to jump universes.
Yes.
Because somehow he was able to get to the main, the sacred timeline.
The sacred timeline, and then he gets a bunch of other timelines.
Yeah.
But
yes. Oh, except that's that one, the other timeline.
That's right. That's not the one. That's right. Yeah. Thank you.
But so, yeah, he's interviewing with Happy, and basically, Happy asks him why he wants to be an Avenger. And he says, because he needs it. Because his girl, Vanessa, is upset with him and she wants him to do something with his life. And he thinks the best thing that he can do is be an Avenger. And Happy explains to him that the Avengers don't do what they do because they need it. They do it because other people need them.
Yes. He still needs to learn about being an actual hero, doesn't he?
Yeah. He tells him his heart's in the right place, but his desire to be an Avenger is coming from the wrong place.
The wrong place. This is interesting too. Like, as we'll put it later, Vanessa is a dancer.
Yes. Yes.
And she's talking about him doing something with his life.
Yeah. Hey, maybe she makes a good living as a dancer. There's, if that's what she wants to do with her life, then she's, more power to her.
Happy, he's not mean about what he does.
No.
He's right. He politely does it, and
but he explains to him some people aren't meant to be, the big important, Avengers. Some people, everybody has, their job that they're supposed to do.
I think this is an important point that this comes up too, right? We're going to kind of see this pop up in small ways throughout the movie. And yeah, it's kind of a nice little theme that they kind of introduced at the beginning of this.
But yeah, I mean, Happy puts it very, very nicely, actually. It's like not everybody's meant to be the big, superpowered, save the world people, but everybody has a job to do.
Listen, Hawkeye never got a standalone movie.
No, he got a series. He got he got a show, but he never got a standalone movie. But yeah, the important thing is the important thing is to be important in the job that you're doing.
Right.
Do your job to the best of your ability. And but in the office, in Happy's office, or is he actually in Tony's office?
That's a good question. Because you have
because there's a bunch of Stark stuff.
The Millie reactor shields. Mm-hmm. You also have the Captain America shield.
Yes, the items in the office, whether it's Happy's office or Tony's office that Happy's using for the interview. He got the prototype shield from the first two Iron Man movies, the one that was in Tony's shop that he used to prop up his particle accelerator in the second one.
By the way, Iron Man 2 is actually an underrated movie.
It is. You got the briefcase Iron Man suit on one of the shelves.
That's right.
From Iron Man 2.
There.
You've got the Mark II helmet sitting on the table behind Happy's head, behind his desk chair from the first Iron Man movie, before he learned that if you used a gold alloy instead of the steel alloy, it wouldn't freeze as quickly. Let's see. You got the toy Iron Man helmet that was worn by the little boy in Iron Man 2.
Yes.
Which then that little boy was retconned to be Peter Parker.
Right.
So it's Peter's helmet.
We can get all that Spider-Man stuff.
And then behind that helmet is the picture from Endgame of Tony Stark and Peter Parker when Peter was given an award, and they're holding it. The picture that, then sets into motion Tony Stark's plan for the rest of the movie. We're not going to get into that because I don't want to spoil all that movie. But then also Tony's original arc reactor that he built in the cave.
Yes.
The proof that Tony Stark has a heart that's sitting on the desk. And on one of the shelves, there is like a sculpture thing that resembles a Mobius strip, which is also important to Endgame.
Yes.
And then, there's probably several other things in there that, are scattered throughout. What's
not is chicken shawarma.
No.
But that will come later in the movie.
Yes, shawarma does make an appearance later.
Anyway, while we're talking about Tony Stark, who does not show up in this movie. But
so after Deadpool gets turned down from being an Avenger, he returns to his home universe of Earth 1005. I do think it's important.
The line, though, about being important within your role, right? And understanding that. And it's sometimes a theme that can be overlooked and can kind of be simple. But I like it for kind of what this movie does.
Yeah.
Because, again, you're going to see it throughout, not just for Deadpool. You're going to see it from a lot of characters. And it's kind of, I don't know why it made me think about Lord of the Rings, The Hobbits.
Yep.
And even the smallest person can change the course of things, right?
Yep.
Understanding where your role is and what that's supposed to be. And then through that, it can become something great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then it jumps into back to Deadpool's timeline.
Yeah. The Fox
and his universe. His universe, I should say.
Well, which is also the Fox universe, Earth 10005.
But it has moved forward in time.
Yeah, but 6 years.
So it's been that 6 years because
it's 6 year time.
The gap between the movies, right? And now he's a used car salesman.
Yeah.
With Peter.
He works at their version of CarMax. Yeah, he works with Peter selling used cars.
It's a nice wink that it is a different universe, right? Because the MCU or the Sacred Timeline, right, has no problem with product placement.
Yeah. So it when it jumps to
except for car companies, they have the same car companies in this. The Fox universe
with the same models of cars. But we've got Deadpool is getting into his locker and he puts on a toupee and staples it to his head, and he looks ridiculous.
Yes.
But then we got him sitting in the back seat of a Kia Carnival while a family is taking a test drive. The mom of the family asked how the Kia compares to the Honda Odyssey.
Odyssey. This sets up the punchline comes
later,
like halfway through this movie.
Yes, the punchline of this comes like halfway through the movie, and we will get to it. But yeah, Wade starts going on and on, talking shit about the Honda Odyssey, and it's just a great little interaction there between him and the family.
So if you're listening to this and you don't have kids, so you're not in the market for minivans, people are much more likely just to go ahead and buy a used Honda Odyssey than a brand new Kia Carnival. Just saying. I don't drive a minivan, by the way. So
then Wade is upset because by this time, Vanessa has left him.
Yes.
Because, he couldn't figure out, anything to do with his life. And he's just moping around and all that ever since he got turned down by the Avengers. And so, Peter is trying to cheer him up. Peter's been keeping Deadpool's suit in his locker just in case they needed to suit up again.
Just in case, yes.
Bring the X-Force back.
Peter is the one supporting character that actually has a substantive role in this movie.
Yes.
So we do see the other soon. So, but
yeah. So
they are motivation.
But Deadpool keeps on. He keeps on. Peter's a good friend. He is an excellent friend to Wade.
There's a reason why Peter is a legend.
Yes. But yeah, he's trying everything he can to cheer Wade up, and Wade just isn't having it. And it turns out that it's Wade's birthday. And so, they go back to the apartment that he shares with Blind Al. It's a different apartment.
Blind Al?
It's a different apartment than the one that they had before. It's a 1-bedroom apartment that he shares with Blind Al. But yeah, they get there, and all of Wade's friends are there with a surprise party for him.
Surprise party. Surprise.
So we've got Colossus and Negasonic and Yukio. Hi, Yukio.
Hi, Wade.
And Shatterstar is there. So we know that in the post credits from the second one, he at least, in addition to saving Peter, he saves Shatterstar.
Shatterstar.
I don't know why, because Shatterstar was the one that he liked the least of the X-Force. But that leads you to believe that maybe he saved the rest of them too. But if he did save the rest of them, then why weren't they at his party?
Maybe they hate him. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. But then we have Vanessa's there and Buck is there.
Which is,
the big guy from Sister Margaret's.
It is a little strange that Vanessa is there, I guess, given their tenuous relationship. I think she's just doing it because... Sure,
they're not in a romantic relationship anymore, but she still wants to be friends with him. She still wants to have a relationship with him, just not a romantic one.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
And Dopinder's there, of course.
Yeah, of course Dopinder's there. He's got to be there.
And Blind Al, she lives there.
Yeah.
But Blind Al, as soon as Wade walks in, Blind Al starts talking about wanting to do cocaine.
But it's now the MCU. They can't talk about cocaine.
Yeah, this is now a movie made by Disney, and it's the one thing that they wouldn't allow is cocaine.
Yes, cocaine. So they just start going through all these euphemisms.
Yep, all these different names for cocaine. And then finally she's like, do you want to build a snowman? He's like, yes, but I can't. Then there's a knock on the door. And Wade goes out to see who it is. And it's the TVA.
Yes.
There's a TVA agent standing out there.
So before he goes up into the, Peter and he about to go up in the apartment, right?
Oh, yes.
And he looks across the street and he sees these strange looking people that look like they're in kind of like a work van that's like doing work in like the city street, like I don't know, like telephone people, whatever they might be. They're in some type of van like that, and he thinks they look strange. So
yes,
and now it's the TVA.
Yes, it's the TVA, and Wade, of course, makes references to them being strippers. Like, are you the strippers?
It's his birthday.
He's like, all right, come on. And they pull out their little wands, their pruning wands. And he's like, hey, I'm no stranger to pegging. But Disney is.
It is Disney. There's no strippers.
Yeah. Oh, he's like, yeah. But hey, guys, come on. Pegging's nothing new to me, but it is for Disney. And he winks at the camera. Right. They won't let them do anything with cocaine, but they'll let him make a pegging joke.
Anyway,
they start moving toward him, and he sort of fights them back a little bit, and a little doorway opens up behind him, and another TV agent grabs him from behind and pulls him through. While one of the others grabs his toupee off his head, his hair system, which he had mentioned when he was talking to Negasonic and Yukio. Then Negasonic mentioned his toupee, and he's like, "It's a hair system." And Yukio's like, "I love your hair system, Wade." He's like, "Thanks, Yukio."
I love their sexual tension.
Yeah. But
anyway.
So then we have he's at the TVA. He's brought before Mr. Paradox.
Mr. Paradox.
Played by Matthew McFadden.
He's great, by the way.
Or McFadden. Yes, Matthew McFadden is fantastic in this role. But he explains to him, he Deadpool, is asking if it's because of everything that he did with Cable's Time Watch. And he's like, "No, we're not concerned about that. We brought you here because your world is dying, because your anchor being is dead." And he's like, "What's an anchor being?" An anchor being is an individual whose presence is so powerful that the universe is essentially built on him, on that person. And if that anchor being were to die, then that universe will eventually die. Usually over the course of, thousands of years. But in this case, Mr. Paradox wants to speed things up. But he's giving Deadpool a chance to get transferred over to the sacred timeline so that he doesn't go bye-bye with his universe.
Right.
And we find out that the anchor being for the Fox universe was Wolverine.
It's Wolverine.
Who, as we mentioned before, and as was mentioned in the movie earlier, died at the end of Logan. And so when he died, then it started the course of the universe dying. And so Deadpool decides that he is Marvel Jesus. And they're showing him...
This is how he's going to matter.
Yeah, they're showing him different little videos of, the MCU, different little shots from there. And mixed in there is Thor holding Deadpool.
A dying
Deadpool. Or a Deadpool that seems like he's dying.
Yeah.
and they kind of skip past that one real quick, and
he's not supposed to see it.
He's not supposed to see it because that happens in the distant future. But he's like concerned about it. He's like, why is Thor holding me? It's like, what happened? Why is Thor holding me?
He should know who Thor is. That's what I love about this. No, he should know who Thor is.
He shouldn't know who he is, but he does because he's Deadpool.
Who's that muscular dude with beautiful golden lettuce?
Yeah, so he's holding. He's like, why is he holding me? What happened? But just before the Thor thing, he's shown a bunch of clips of Captain America, and that's in the comics. Deadpool is Captain America's biggest fan.
Yes,
and so when he shows up on the screen, he salutes him, And, he's just real proud to be watching clips of Captain America. Yeah, and then the Thor thing happens. And he's concerned about, what happened with my Thor? What's going on here? Which then there's just some funny stuff that happens throughout the rest of the movie regarding that little brief shot.
No, it comes up fairly often.
But so, they've learned that, he is, Wade is going to be sent to the sacred timeline to be an Avenger. And Wade determines that he is Marvel Jesus. That he's the one that's going to save the MCU. And so they give him a new suit. They give him a new Deadpool suit. A little brighter red. Adamantium katanas. Which I want adamantium katanas, by the way.
I want it, yes. Who doesn't want this?
But yeah. So Deadpool
remember,
comes out.
His suit is back with Peter in the locker.
Yes, his suit is back with Peter. And so, they give him a new suit. And he loves it, fits him perfectly, and the tailor is definitely a predator.
I'm sorry. This made me think of John Wick 2.
Yeah. When he needs a new suit.
Yes. Will you be having dessert?
Oh yeah. So
but his plan is
his plan
going to the is to actually go find a new Wolverine to replace
the anchor being.
So
we
get a montage.
Yes. So we get a montage. He swipes Mr. Paradox's little time tablet, his little time device, his TVA thing that so he can travel through time and universes.
He's walking through there, and then he sees it's very bureaucratic, right? Mm-hmm. He looks down. There's a fat guy down there. It seems very impressed by him.
Yes,
he sees him. They catch eyes, and then he throws the device so he can kind of start leaping through the timelines, right?
Yep. So he starts out though. He goes back to his universe to dig up Wolverine, and that's where we get back.
Right. That's right. We go back to that
the present time. So he sort of fast forwards through him fighting all the TVA agents outside of Wolverine's grave. And then we finish that fight.
I do particularly like the part where, because again, he's got the adamantium. He's got the one guy, he shoves it up his crotch. Mm-hmm. He takes the other guy and shoves it up his butt.
Yep. Well, he hits the guy in the butt first, and then while he's trying to get the claws out, because he's never used Wolverine claws before. No, he's not as practiced with them as Wolverine is.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to retract them.
So he accidentally stabs one of the guys in the butt, and he gets stuck in there, and the other guy comes running toward him, and while he's trying to keep him back, the other guy runs into the claws, right into his crotch. Right. And then there. And I love this. He's like, come on, just let him die. And one of the TVA guys is like, Mangold tried. Referencing Wolverine. James Mangold, who directed Logan.
Yes. He directed the Wolverine too, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So he also directed Walk the Line, which would be a good movie to do one day.
It would be. Yeah, that is a good movie. But anywho, so The last guard, the last TVA agent, I think he's the one that was talking about Mangold.
Yes.
Was he?
I think so.
Yeah. Said that he told Deadpool that he's the worst thing to come out of Canada. To ever come out of Canada. And then we get a reference to the Oscar slap. So as soon as he says you're the worst thing to ever come out of Canada, Deadpool breaks his promise because he promised not to use his weapons. But he uses one of his weapons. He pulls out one of his katanas and throws it, bounces it off the ground, and it sticks right through that TVA agent's head through his mouth. And then, he tells him to keep his country's name out of his fucking mouth. And my sword. And he pulls the sword out of his mouth.
What's also appropriate is that Logan is Canadian. So.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Hugh Jackman's not Canadian.
No, Hugh Jackman.
Ryan Reynolds is Canadian.
Yes. Hugh Jackman's Australian.
He's an Aussie. So, but we haven't encountered him. We're about to encounter Hugh Jackman. So,
yeah,
because he now realizes he has to jump through time to find the right Wolverine.
Yes. So he activates his little TVA device and he jumps through different universes and he meets several different Wolverine variants. So the first one he encounters is he appears in a bar where there's axe throwing going on.
That's right.
Sitting at the bar is one of the Wolverines. It is the comic accurate Short King Wolverine, the one that's actually the size that he is in the comics.
Yes.
And then he goes to...
It's funny to think about that, going back to that, right? Like, it's probably one of those little controversies that kind of happened at the time.
Yeah.
That you completely forgot about.
Yeah, because in the comics...
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. Hugh Jackman's like 6 foot something. He's like 6 feet tall, 6'1", somewhere in there. And Wolverine in the comics is like just under 5 feet. He's short.
No, he's supposed to be short to the ground, like Wolverine.
Yeah.
So... Anyway, go on.
So then he goes to the Age of Apocalypse universe.
Yes.
Where we got the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine with one hand, just like in that line of the comics. It's sort of futuristic. Reminded me a lot of Escape from New York. Just the style of it.
Yes. No. Yeah, I feel that.
And then jumps to a casino in Madripoor, which is an island country from the X-Men comics, where we have Patch.
Yes, the one-eyed
Wolverine in a white dinner jacket with a patch on his eye.
Eye patch.
And then we go to the crucified Wolverine from Uncanny X-Men number 251.
Uncanny, yes.
And, he's basically, there's a mountain of skulls, of bloody skulls, and there's a big X that he is strapped to. He's being crucified on it. And then he jumps to the forest, where there's Wolverine, which I love the suit that Wolverine's wearing in this one.
Yeah, no,
the John Byrne, the brown and yellow suit.
The brown suit Wolverine is just chef's kiss.
Yes. But yeah, this is from the famous comic book cover where or one of the times that he fights Hulk, and where it actually shows the shot of, like, on the cover of the comics, it's got Wolverine, a close up of his face with his claws coming up, and you see Hulk's reflection in the claws, and they actually show that there. He raises his claws up, and you can see Hulk's reflection, Hulk's face.
So cool.
And it turns out Hulk is standing right behind Deadpool.
Yeah,
I love how. So in the first Avengers movie, when Hulk meets Loki, then Loki says, he's like, "I'm a god, you worthless being," whatever it was.
Yeah.
Deadpool says the exact same thing, like right before, Hulk, beats the crap out of Loki.
Yeah. Right.
Starts wailing on him. Yeah. Then, so when Deadpool notices that Hulk's right behind him, he says the exact same thing, but he says, "I'm Marvel Jesus." And then he gets hit into a tree stump.
Yes.
Sent flying into a tree stump. So he then goes into. Oh wait, before. Okay, I skipped a couple. So after Patch, he goes to, it's a garage where there's a big buff Wolverine at a motorcycle, revving the engine of a motorcycle.
Right, it's Henry Cavill, right?
Yeah, and it's Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
He walks up to him and he turns around, and it's Henry Cavill as Wolverine, because there was a big, fans all over the place wanted Henry Cavill to be the MCU's Wolverine. So it's just a little nod to that, the Cavalrine.
Yeah.
And then we get, after the Cavalrine, we get the comic book version of Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
Sitting on the front porch of a shack. And then we get the Uncanny 251, and then Wolverine and Hulk. And then finally, after a little montage of each of them, stabbing Deadpool, attacking him, and Deadpool finally goes to another bar where the main Wolverine for this movie is, who we find out shortly is the worst Wolverine.
The worst Wolverine. Yes.
At least according to Mr. Paradox.
Mr. Paradox, Wade thinks he's the perfect Wolverine.
Because he's the only one that didn't attack him when he met him.
But again, it gets back to like, what are you doing with your role? And
exactly.
It's getting back into like understanding that. Funny thing about this too, and it's reminiscent of this, because it's a bar, and
it's very reminiscent. It's very reminiscent to the bar in the first X-Men movie.
Yes. No, it's perfect. And
when Wolverine is first introduced,
it's a nice nod to it. So, absolutely. And so they talk, and and Wolverine's ready to fight him, and
Wolverine's drinking. He's drunk, and he's ready to fight him, and he just passes out.
Yeah,
because he's been drinking too much. And so when Deadpool reaches down to try to pick him up and carry him through the time door, then he notices something under his shirt, and he's like, "Wow, it only took 20 years for that to happen." Then we find out what it took 20 years to happen when he walks through the time door, and he is sitting there carrying Wolverine in full yellow and blue Wolverine costume.
Yeah.
Well, minus the mask.
Yes. We'll get to the mask.
But carries him into the TVA to Mr. Paradox and delivers him as the new anchor being for his universe.
I mean, everyone's been waiting for the blue and yellow.
Yes.
I mean.
Yeah. And they did a fantastic job with that suit, too. It was... Yeah.
It was fantastic, and then every scene...
It was worth the wait.
With it was worth the wait. Yeah.
Like, but
I get why like the Sinker movies didn't have it right away. It needed to come at some point, and it came at the right time somehow.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. 24 years later.
Yes.
But yeah, so Mr. Paradox, of course, is starts laughing that he wouldn't have accepted any other Wolverine, by the way, but you just happen to bring the worst Wolverine.
Yeah, right.
Because if you knew what he did to his universe, then you wouldn't want him.
But you just can't replace,
an anchor beam.
The anchor beam. Thank you.
Yeah, an anchor beam can't just be replaced. So, Deadpool figures out that, Mr. Paradox tells him that he has a time ripper, and he's going to accelerate the destruction of Deadpool's universe.
Right. And that he doesn't want that, not so much for himself, which is important. That's not for himself that he wants to do this. It's for those that he loves.
Yeah.
He has a picture of
all of his friends.
Friends from, so.
That were at his birthday party.
Their family.
All the people that he loves. And, he carries that with him throughout the movie. And Deadpool figures out that Mr. Paradox is not working from orders from the TVA.
Yes.
That this is his own idea.
Rogue.
He's going rogue. And so he decides that he pulls out a little TVA device, and he tells Mr. Paradox that he has a black belt in Karen, and he's going to call HR.
That's right. Karen, forgot about that.
He's like, I have a black belt in Karen. And while he's going on about how he's going to call HR, Mr. Paradox prunes him with the pruning stick.
Yes.
And when Wolverine sees what he just did, he comes at Mr. Paradox, and he gets pruned too. And pruning, when the TVA prunes something or someone, it gets sent to the void. The void at the end of time. So the void doesn't exist within time. It's outside of time, just like the TVA is. Yeah, so it's just filled with a hodgepodge of various
Disregarded
people
stuff.
and disregarded things from different universes.
Yeah. There's a 20th Century Fox logo.
Yep.
And
Yep.
they
So
probably needed one of the old Universal logos, right? You know,
mhm.
one with a little plane flying
Yes.
in front of it.
Maybe an old Columbia logo. But no,
You know,
they didn't
old,
show
the old
those.
Touchstone
But
Pictures thing, you know.
yeah, TriStar. Yeah, no, the only old movie logo they showed was the 20th Century Fox logo, because there is no 20th Century Fox anymore.
Yeah.
But it's like half dug in the ground. And so Deadpool is laying on the ground, and to his right, if you noticed, there's a magazine. It's not just any magazine. That is a comic book for one of the issues of Secret Wars.
Yes.
Which, of course, is one of the next Avengers movies that's coming out. There's Avengers Doomsday and then Avengers Secret Wars.
Gotta love Easter eggs.
Mm-hmm. And it's very likely that the scene with Thor and Deadpool is supposed to happen in Secret Wars.
Right. Yeah.
Because that would be the most likely place where they would meet. Because if you know anything about the Secret Wars storyline, if you don't know anything about it, read it. If you do know it, then you know that it's a bunch of the timelines are brought together to fight.
This is interesting because most Marvel, like MCU movies, throw the next kind of Easter egg in the credits.
Mm-hmm.
This throws it in the movie.
Yes.
Not the credits.
Yes. Now, there are Easter eggs in the credits, too, that we can get to when we get there.
Right.
But, because it wouldn't be a Marvel movie without an Easter egg in the credits. But, so, then we see a shadow of Wolverine come up and claws extend in the shadow, and then he stabs Deadpool, picks him up, and he's like, ask him where they are. Throws him up against the 20th Century Fox logo. And then Deadpool realizes that there's no way around it. He's got to fight Wolverine.
This won't be the first time they fight. I like that there's two actual fights.
It won't be the last time they fight.
Yes.
It is the first time they fight, but it won't be the last time they fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have a little fight. It's a great fight.
It's a great fight.
It's a great fight.
It's one of those fights, again.
Two characters with amazing healing factors, so they can slice each other up all they want, and they don't kill each other. They just heal.
It brought me back to the first Avengers movie, right? Where, you get several of the characters just fighting each other. You got Hulk and Iron Man, or you got Hulk and Thor fighting each other, right? It's like, well, I guess Hulk and Thor don't fight until Ragnarok, but
yeah,
Iron Man and Hulk, or Iron Man and Thor going against each other, right? Yeah. So it's we got two things that can heroes that are strong. They go against each other. It's great.
Yeah. So then, to end the fight, Deadpool convinces Wolverine that if he helps him save his universe, the TVA has the power
to fix
Wolverine's universe. And so that stops the fight. And right after that, we get
Chris Evans.
We get a visit from Chris Evans.
But we're not talking about Captain America.
And which is so great, because ever since Chris Evans left the MCU, there have been rumors that he was contracted for one more movie. And so, wait, did the convoy show up first, or did Chris Evans show up first?
I thought he showed up
Yeah, Chris Evans showed up first. Yeah, Chris Evans showed up first, then right after he shows up, the convoy shows up.
Yes.
So Deadpool is all excited because Captain America's here, right? And the convoy shows up of the main villains people, led by Pyro from the X-Men movies. But the convoy consists of a few familiar vehicles.
Yeah.
Two of them are familiar to the MCU. One of them is familiar to a different Fox property.
Yes.
So we have the
Max Fury Road.
Yes, we have the Fantasticar from Fantastic Four, which wasn't actually in any this particular one wasn't in any of the movies, but it's from the comics. And then we had the ice cream truck that was featured in Moon Knight.
Right.
And Red Skull's car.
Oh, that's right.
They had flames painted on the sides.
Well, what I like about it, though, is they show up like it's Mad Max Fury Road.
Yes, they show up like it's Mad Max. And
which is a Fox property, by the way.
Yes. Yes. And we get another great little reference to that in a minute. But yeah, so Chris Evans tells him that he'll handle these guys, and he turns and Deadpool gets all excited because Captain America's going to say it. He's going to say it.
Yep.
He's like, and Deadpool's like, Avengers, and Chris Evans is like, flame on, and we find out that it's not Captain America. He's back playing Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. I thought that was just fantastic.
Which is funny.
No pun intended.
When you look, how the characters presented at first just kind of seems like Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Right. So you have no idea if it's going to be which one it's going to be.
But it's great because, the rumors were that Chris Evans was contracted for one more movie, and everybody was convinced that he was going to play Captain America. Nobody thought that he was going to be back as Johnny Storm.
Because he never dies as he, right?
Mm-hmm.
We never actually see that. So
no. So,
but as Captain America, and perfectly reasonable expectation that it's going to, it's Johnny Storm. And it's funny because when he was cast as Captain America, it seemed odd at the time.
Yeah, because he was Johnny Storm.
Johnny Storm. And
but he made that role his own.
And it's funny because I didn't think much of him as an actor at that time.
I didn't either. But then, he was a great Captain America.
Yeah, he was.
He made Captain America his own.
He did. So,
it was just great seeing him back as Human Torch.
Yeah, it was.
And so he he flies up and he throws fire. He shoots fire at Pyro. Why didn't he shoot it at other people? He shot it at Pyro. The guy that can control fire. All he needs is a spark, and he can control fire.
He's not his sister, but he's still supposed to be very intelligent.
Yeah.
So you would think that he would not throw fire at the mutant that can control fire.
Yeah. So he, so Pyro absorbs all of the fire that's being thrown at him and sort of drains it all from Johnny, at least for the time being. I don't think it's for good, but we don't actually see him flame on again. And he comes falling out of the sky and, crashes to the ground. And then we have Sabretooth.
Yes.
Comes out of the convoy and he sees Wolverine. And he's ready to kill Wolverine. So before, and Wolverine's ready to fight him.
It's not the Liv Schreiber Sabretooth.
No, this is the original Sabretooth from the first.
From
the Tyler Mane.
Yeah.
Yes, the Tyler Mane Sabretooth from the first X-Men movie back in 2000. And so Deadpool stops them before they can fight so that he can take his swords and baby knife out of Wolverine that he had stuck in him in their fight. Were all stuck in him this whole time. I love how anytime that Deadpool pulls out baby knife, he always says, baby knife, before he stabs somebody with it. But, yeah, so, Sabretooth comes charging at Wolverine, and it looks like it's going to be this big epic battle, but Wolverine just real quick swipes at him with his claws, and Sabretooth's head comes rolling off. And then we get Mad Max reference. Deadpool picks up Sabretooth's head. Here is the head of your queen, Furiosa.
They could have gone there, or they could have gone Lord of the Flies. I've got the con.
Yes, they could have. Oh yeah. So they get the rest of the mutants that are in the convoy, capture Deadpool and Wolverine, and tie them up together, and they also tie up Johnny and take them back to their lair, which the lair is a dead giant man, which is, of course, Ant-Man when he's in giant size.
Yeah. What I want to know is, like, which Ant-Man is this?
Yeah, because it's not the Sacred Timeline one.
Yeah, which we, that's the thing. Like, it's not like we really encountered Ant-Man in any other, like, property. Like, Paul Rudd is the Ant-Man that we know.
Yeah. And it's the suit from the MCU Ant-Man movies.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, they get in there, like the hands are the gate. It's open up, and it's the gate to get into the lair. And then the mask opens up. And we just see a skeleton back there. And I love when Deadpool sees, he's like, huh, Paul Rudd finally aged.
Which is so true. Like, I don't know what point I realized, like, oh yeah, Paul Rudd's not aging.
Yeah, he's not aging. He looks exactly like he did in Clueless.
He's like his generation's Steve Martin.
Yeah.
It's just
only Steve Martin always looked old because of the gray hair.
Because I was going to say, Steve Martin's always had the same gray white hair.
Because I think he started graying when he was like 15, something like that.
Yeah, no, like the Jerk. Steve Martin from like 1970s looks like the Steve Martin of today.
Yeah.
With the same hair. Yeah.
Like, he doesn't look any older than he did then. Yeah.
So anyway.
Yes, and they are introduced to the main villain in the Void.
Cassandra
Nova.
Professor Xavier's sister.
Yes, his twin sister, who Xavier didn't know about because she was pruned when they were babies.
Right. And she is portrayed by Emma Corrin, who I had seen in I saw like the resemblance because like Cassandra's like bald in this movie.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a different look. But she played Princess Diana in season 4. The first person
that
portrayed
was
Princess
her,
Diana in The Crown.
Yes,
back in season 4. She was when Prince Charles first started dating Princess Diana. Because I think they had 2 or 3 people portray Princess Diana. But so yeah, same performer.
Yeah,
very different look, like I said, because Cassandra's bald in this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cassandra's power is like almost even more powerful than like Xavier's, and she's more evil. So
So
But,
among the mutants that are part of Cassandra's group there in her lair.
There's a Zazzle.
Yes, there's Azazel.
We would have seen
and
in
there's
Toad.
Toad, and then we also have the Juggernaut from X-Men 3. From
X-Men 3 Juggernaut. That's right. Not the.
Although it was
not Deadpool 2 Juggernaut.
Although he's not played by Vinnie Jones in this one.
No.
He is played instead by Aaron W. Reed, who also played, if you have seen Free Guy, he plays Dude in Free Guy.
Okay.
Or, I mean, he's the body of Dude. Then it, of course, has Ryan Reynolds' face digitally inserted on top of his.
There's, by the way, we didn't talk about this with Toad. Like, we'll see a little bit more later because he's going to be the one with the most, not Toad, Pyro.
Yeah.
Because he's the one with the most prominent role of any of these, like, henchmen. His suit's more accurate to the comics than it was in X2 or The Last Stand.
Yes.
So yeah, we said Lady Deathstrike.
Yes.
We get the non-Colin Farrell bullseye.
Yep. And there's Quill and
Psylocke. Toad, Callisto. So yeah, we get a
and the Russian from Punisher.
That's right.
Although it's not, it's not Ric Flair playing him.
No. Whoa! The Russian gets a nice death.
And also, the guy opening up the gates is Blob.
So yeah, Blob's in this also. So there's a great collection of rogues, right?
Yes. So Cassandra comes out and she's talking to him, and Wolverine, steps up on her. Well, actually, no. First off, Deadpool decides to tell her what he says that Johnny told him about her.
Yeah. So like Johnny's talking about like she's overseeing the Void.
Yeah.
And she's in charge of it.
Yeah, in their trip to the lair, he was explaining to them that, Cassandra is, this she's basically the kingpin of the Void.
And they want to get out of the Void. They want to get back so they can save Deadpool's universe
and fix Wolverine's.
And that's how they got to go through Cassandra. So, because she's basically the gatekeeper and the kingpin, as you said.
So, in order to get her attention off of Deadpool and Wolverine, Deadpool tells her what Johnny told him about her, and goes into graphic detail about what Johnny said that he would do.
And Johnny's like, I never said this.
He's like, I never said this. And Wolverine's like, dude, shut up. Don't. What are you doing? Why are you? And so she rips the skin off. She uses her powers to rip the skin off of Johnny, and he collapses into a pile of bones and blood.
Yes. And it's sadly the end of Johnny Storm.
Yeah. At least this variant of him.
Yes. Which is too bad, because I kind of like this variant of Johnny Storm.
I did too. Yeah.
As much as I didn't like the Fantastic Four movies, I kind of liked each of the variants.
Yeah.
Those characters.
I love Wolverine starts getting on Deadpool for killing him, for being the reason he's dead. He's like,
you murdered him.
And Deadpool's, do you have any idea what he was doing to the budget?
It's Chris Evans. And they're like, he was contracted for this anyway. It doesn't matter how long he was in this movie. They didn't say that, sorry, but
But I mean, if he was going to flame on again, that would have raised the budget too for all the fire effects.
The VX. That's right.
Yeah. So then Wolverine, tries to attack Cassandra, and she, uses her powers to send him, like, throw him underground and then shoo him away.
Yeah.
While she then goes up to Deadpool and probes his mind.
She
puts her hand in his head.
She Robert Patrick's his brain
Yeah.
without the blade, I guess.
She just sticks her hand through the back of his head and her fingers come out his face and like she's moving around and stuff and getting in his mind. And she explains that, Charles could, take over somebody with a thought. She has to get her hands dirty. Then we get a flashback to like what's going on inside Wolverine or inside Deadpool's head.
She's getting inside, literally
getting inside his brain.
In his brain.
And she pulls up a memory of when Vanessa left Deadpool, when Vanessa left Wade.
Not the memory where like Vanessa is basically putting on a strap on and putting up his butt.
Yeah, that was in the first movie. For International Women's Day. But no, they're sitting at the table and she's going on about, let me help you, let me help you make something of your life, and he is, moping and then, is going through this and he's like, just tell me you don't love me anymore. You tell me that you want to leave me, all this. And she says something that she didn't actually say. She tells him that you don't fucking matter. Or you'll never fucking matter.
Right. And he, it's.
And he's like, what?
Wade says, like, she didn't say that.
Yeah. And we find out that it's Cassandra saying that, inserting that into his memory.
Yes. It's like Dark City, where, the strangers just implant stuff in you, right?
Yeah. That's another movie we need to do one of these days, by the way.
We should.
Yeah, so Wade snaps out of it because, Cassandra's trying to insert that into his memory. And so then we find out that Alioth is coming. Alioth, of course, is the big cloudy beast that lives in the void.
Yeah.
That eats, that's sent around to eat everything that's been pruned.
Right. So, it's at least it's a cloud, but then it can shape into kind of like basically a big skull.
Yeah, it's got like a wolf head.
Everything up. Right.
Yeah. So he's coming to, basically get rid of Deadpool and Wolverine. And at this point, Wolverine escapes from being underground and they, the two of them sort of overpower Cassandra for the time being. And as Alioth's coming, they escape on a sentinel leg. Wolverine jumps on it, activates the rocket boosters on it, and Deadpool comes along and they fly up onto the top of a cliff.
They escape from Alioth and Cassandra, and then I guess her rogues, they get back into safety so they don't get consumed, right?
Yeah.
So and we proceed to the next phase of the movie.
Yeah. So once they crash land on the top of the cliff, then they're walking through the wasteland, and they walk past. So Sean Levy, is it Levy or Levy?
It's a good question. Levy, Eugene Levy, but I've seen that last name I've seen spelled in multiple ways. Eugene Levy. Let's say Levy.
So Sean Levy.
Sean Levy, if you're listening to this, is actually Levy, and you're Sean Levy.
Yes, please correct us. We'd love it if you'd reach out to us and let us know how to pronounce your last name. But anyway, so Sean Levy is a big fan of John Candy and of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, evidently. And as they're walking through the wasteland, they pass something. They pass a car that's all burned up, and it's got a trunk, like a luggage trunk, right in front of it. And that is the exact same model of car and the same look after it burned up as the car that they drive in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And it's got...
the one they got from the rental agency that Steve Martin tried to get from Marathon.
Yep.
Welcome to Marathon.
It's got John Candy's trunk in front of it. So that's just a nice little Easter egg there, that just to show his love for that movie.
Let's try hauling that around New York.
Yeah. Anyway, so eventually they come up and they are greeted by...
Nice Pool.
Well, first they're greeted by Dog Pool.
Dog Pool, yeah. That Nice Pool.
Yes, then Nice Pool comes running looking for his dog. And Nice Pool, of course, is played by Ryan Reynolds. But this one is not all, cancered up.
No.
And he's got long hair.
He's got long hair.
But more importantly, he has 2 gold-plated 50 caliber Desert Eagle pistoleros.
Which, Wade sees these. He's like, "Oh, there's gold-plated Desert Eagle.
Can I have them?" I love that. I love the way he asks it. He's like, "Are those gold-plated 50 caliber Desert Eagle pistoleros? Can I have them?"
And the answer is no.
Yeah, the answer is no. And so
but that's not very nice. A Nice Pool.
No, it's not. But yeah, we learned that there's the whole Deadpool core is in the void, and Nice Pool warns them. He's like, "You're lucky you didn't run into them because they're not as nice as I am."
Which is true.
Yes, which is very true.
There's also a very important difference between them and him.
Yes, and we'll get to that. So, Nice Pool is Dog Pool's owner, and Dog Pool is an ugly dog. Well, which it's actually the dog that won the ugliest dog in the world prize in real life.
Shit.
Yes, the dog. Yeah, the dog that plays Dog Pool. It's I believe it is a British dog. It's from England, and when they had the ugliest dog in the world contest, it won.
He's kind of cute.
Yeah,
in a very endearing way.
Yes, but Wade is instantly enamored with this dog.
Oh yes, no, he loves this dog,
and he wants
of course, Nice Pool loves this dog too.
He wants to take her from Nice Pool. He doesn't think that Nice Pool is a good enough dog papa. He doesn't think that Nice Pool is a good papa for the dog.
Papa
for Dog Pool.
So
he's like, if she ever needs a new papa, I would be happy to take her.
So how was this group of the we don't see them yet in the Deadpool core been able to stay away from Eliath and Cassandra?
Well, they're off in the wastelands where
they were in the wastelands,
like
I guess.
And Cassandra seems to be in control of Eliath for at least somewhat. She can call on him.
She's just happy where she is.
Maybe she just keeps
too concerned with things. Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe she just keeps Eliath away from everybody else, and isn't trying to attack her lair.
The nasty core is just staying cool.
Yeah. So. Anywho, so they're needing to get to the what is the borderlands or the outskirts or what?
The borderlands.
The borderlands. And
have they have Deadpool and Wolverine gone to like the diner yet? There's a diner there, and no, they meet. Yeah, they meet Nice Pool, I think. Yeah,
they meet Nice Pool first. Wait,
there's that little diner, and like they have a discussion there before they meet Nice Pool. Like it's not big, but they just kind of talk about.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because they.
And that's where he kind of admits that he's the worst Wolverine. He talks kind of more about being that worst Wolverine,
but he doesn't go into detail about it.
He doesn't get into detail about it. He's drinking there, and they just. Oh, that's right, because that's also the scene where
Deadpool is eating spam.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of cans of spam there.
At this point, he's got his toupee off again.
Yeah. Because he didn't have it, but he's still got the staples in his head.
He's got the staples, and he's like, it's a toupee. He's like, everybody knows.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's like, back in my universe, I wear a toupee, but nobody notices. He's like, everybody knows.
Yeah. And I think it's a good scene because it's just, it doesn't add a lot to the plot. It adds the characterization.
Yes, it adds to their relationship.
Haven't had a whole lot of them where it's just the two of them conversing.
Yeah.
And at this point, they still don't really. Well, Logan doesn't really like Wade.
Yeah,
and Wade still thinks that the two of them can save his timeline together. So his universe together. So not timeline, universe together.
Yes.
So. And then
his timeline also, but because his universe is his timeline. But
whatever way you want to look at it. So
however you want to look at it. But so they have a little conversation in there, and Wolverine's drinking rubbing alcohol. But he mentions Wolverine mentions a little bit about how terribly he screwed up his universe and wants to fix it, but he doesn't go into any details yet.
And again, like that's the thing. Remember, like, because Deadpool promised that his timeline can be fixed.
Yeah,
his universe can be fixed,
and so
he fix his mistake.
When Wolverine starts to talk a little bit about it, then Deadpool's like, well, are you just going to go ahead and explain it now, or are you going to wait for a third act flashback?
We never actually get the flashback.
We get a little bit, like, we get a substitute for the flashback.
Yeah, we get some exposition. But
we kind of get a little bit of a flashback when they meet up with Cassandra again. But
no, you're right. Yeah. Yes, you're right. You are right about that. Yes.
But it's not the kind of flashback it's implied that it is. That it would be.
It is Cassandra. Yeah. So like it's
yes. So then they meet Dogpool and Nicepool, and Nicepool directs them to the Borderlands and tells them that he'll lend them his car.
And this is where the punchline comes.
And this is where the punchline from earlier comes, because Nicepool
it's a Honda Odyssey.
Owns a Honda Odyssey. And not only does he own a Honda Odyssey, but he owns a Honda Odyssey with a Coexist bumper sticker on it. Of course he does. He's Nicepool.
This is perfect because, like, I was Coexist bumper stickers. Like, at some point, I think, like, you don't get as many as you used to.
No, they used to be all over the place.
They got replaced, I think, with other signs, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine.
But yeah, like 15 years ago, they were all over the place. They were in like every car.
Yeah. So, but I think it's perfect that his Odyssey has a Coexist bumper sticker.
Yes. Absolutely. It totally fits his character. And I love when Wade finds out that it's a Honda Odyssey. When he's explaining to Wolverine why the Honda Odyssey is so bad, he tells him when Honda saw that untreated chlamydia was making a comeback, they invented the Honda Odyssey to compete. So this whole time,
which seems like a more apt description for the Kia, but anyway,
yeah. But anyway, so this whole time, Deadpool has been holding on a Dogpool, and he does not want to give him back to Nicepool, or he doesn't want to give her back to Nice Pool.
But now it's time because they're going to go, and Nice Pool's going to go.
Now it's time because Nice Pool's going to go back where he went, and Deadpool and Wolverine are going to borrow Nice Pool's car. And so Deadpool tries to turn around and run, but they're in the middle of a cornfield. For some reason,
by the way,
the Honda Odyssey was parked in the middle of a cornfield. Yes, listen to our episode of Signs. That was a good episode, by the way.
I love that episode.
Yeah, that was a great discussion.
It was. Like, I was surprised how much, like, it's been so long, and
yeah,
it was still a great movie.
Yeah.
So,
but anyway, so Deadpool tries to run away with Dogpool.
Like, it's a cornfield. Where's he going to go?
It's a cornfield. He just turns around and doesn't really get anywhere, and so Wolverine comes up and takes Dogpool from him to give him back to Nice Pool. To give her back to Nice Pool. And,
gives it back to
Wolverine gives it back to her. Yeah. And I love Deadpool as Wolverine's taking her from him. He's like, I'm sorry. The corn was too dense. I'm sorry, girl. The corn was too dense. But also, so Dogpool, we didn't mention this. So its Deadpool name is Dogpool. The dog's actual name in the movie is Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
That's only a name a dog dad like that would give a dog.
Yeah.
Mary Poppins. Anyway.
So then, we get they get in the car and they turn it on and Avril Lavigne is playing.
I love this. This is
of course
maybe
Nice
my
Pool.
favorite music choice in this movie is Avril Lavigne's Not Scared of Boy.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
I'm with you.
I'm with you.
And
of
Avril
course,
Lavigne's
that's
ballad
what
song
Nice Pool listens
about
to.
looking for a love.
Yes.
And it's Nice Pool listening to it. But it's perfect because it's you got Deadpool and Wolverine searching for something.
Yes.
For a connection.
Yes. Perfect.
And they're with each other. So it's I'm with you.
It is perfect.
And I love it because, again, it gets back. It's using this late 90s, early 2000s stuff. Like, I'm sorry, like early 2000s female pop ballads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. So while they're driving.
It's so perfect. By the way, I thought about this as well. I don't know. I watched this movie the next day. I was listening to Sirius on the 80s channel.
Uh-huh.
Johnny Hates Jazz came on.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
I was thinking, like, that, they need to be used more.
Yeah.
Within the movie.
Yeah.
It's like it's underappreciated 80s pop band.
Yeah.
Johnny Hates Jazz.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, so Wolverine's driving. And Deadpool's sitting in the passenger seat. He's sitting shotgun. And they're talking. And Deadpool is like, well, if the TV can't fix your universe, what's the first thing you're going to do? And Wolverine is like,
what do you mean?
What do you mean? Did you just say if? If the TVA can fix my universe? And so this starts an argument.
Man.
This starts an argument. And so he Wolverine,
you people.
Yeah, so Wolverine, gets pissed at Deadpool. He's like, you lied to me. And Deadpool's like, I made an educated wish. An educated wish. And then so Wolverine is trying to argue with him again. Deadpool's response is, they call me the Merc with the mouth. They don't call me Truthful Timmy, the blowjob queen of Saskatoon. And then that then prompts Wolverine to stab Deadpool in the leg with his claws.
I love it. No, I mean, now we get the next scene.
And he just goes on and on. No, so so Wolverine is just, he's just yelling at Deadpool.
Yes.
Wolverine is just like, he's turning those screws. He's getting down to Wolverine's core on how like he can't even save his relationship with a stripper. And just getting personal, taking those.
This is the Wolverine we know and love.
Taking those big, and then and Deadpool gets quiet, and Wolverine's like, "What? Come on, mouth. You got nothing to say? Just say one word." Deadpool's like, gubernatorial. And then that's when the fight starts. And they're fighting in this van. They're just destroying the van. But what's great here is so Deadpool hits Wolverine he hits him up against the radio. And the first song that starts to play is the main song from The Greatest Showman.
Which stars Hugh Jackman.
Which of course stars Hugh Jackman. And what we didn't mention earlier when they first met Cassandra was Deadpool warned her not to mess with Wolverine because he'll start singing the entire second act of The Music Man without any warm-up.
That's right. He did say that.
And before they did this movie, he just finished a run on The Music Man. Hugh Jackman had. Yeah. Because Hugh Jackman, of course, got started in musical theater.
He's very musical.
Before he started doing movies. So yeah, it's great when they're fighting. The first song that plays on the radio is just the first half a second of Greatest Showman. And then he gets hit against there again, and it's You're the One That I Want from Grease. And that's the fight song. That song's playing while they're fighting. Which again is fitting.
Does not show up.
Which again is fitting because, You're the One That I Want. It's Deadpool and Wolverine fighting with that song. And so they're tearing up this minivan.
Yeah, no.
And each other.
If only Deadpool could see what was happening to his minivan.
Yes.
And his Honda Odyssey.
And then, a little ways into the fight, Deadpool decides that, the Honda Odyssey is really not all that bad.
Who used this in the sales pitch? I was fighting Wolverine in this one.
He's like, it turns out the Honda Odyssey fucks hard. But yeah, so they're fighting until they're both just passed out. They just exhaust.
It's a draw.
Tire each other out. But I love it because Wolverine, he passes out. Like they're both in they got captain's chairs in the back of the middle seats of the minivan, and so they're both reclined, and Wolverine kind of just lays back and passes out. And meanwhile, Deadpool is completely tied up in all the seatbelts.
I love that. That was my favorite part. Somehow, okay, I guess somehow Wolverine kind of won it if he wrapped up in the seatbelts, and they both passed out. So slight edge Wolverine, I guess.
Yeah. And then we see Boots walk up to the van.
Always sees the Boots, yeah.
And the van, these Boots get in the van and it drives off. We don't know where it's going. And then we get Deadpool waking up. And here's something. So this happened earlier too, when they were taken by the mutants, by Cassandra's mutants. Anytime that Deadpool wakes up from being knocked out or passing out or whatever, anytime he wakes up, Like he just like shoots awake, like, you know, he's been having a bad dream or something, just like pops up. But anytime he wakes up, he says, Thor!
That's right, he does, yes. He's still waiting for that scene.
He's still waiting to be held by Thor.
When's it gonna happen? He's gonna keep waiting on the edge of his seat for it.
Because earlier when he was talking to Mr. Paradox, he's like, yeah, there's a future. He's like, yeah, with Thor, he holds me.
I too want to be held by Thor.
So, the recurring theme of that whole little quick glimpse of Thor holding Deadpool.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, when they wake up, you know, they're in this strange, you know, cave, shack, house,
let's say lair,
hideout. You know, they're in this strange hideout.
Probably the most appropriate way of describing this.
And it's just the two of them in the room, and then the music changes. And Deadpool looks over to the doorway, and we see a sigh kind of come out and spin a little bit. It's not Raphael, unfortunately. It's Jennifer Garner as Elektra from her role in both Daredevil and Elektra.
Daredevil, yeah.
But she's dressed more like she was in Daredevil, the Ben Affleck Daredevil. And so she, she walks in, and then just behind her, we have Wesley Snipes walk in.
As Passenger 57.
No, not as Passenger 57. As Murder at 1600. No, he comes in as Blade, of course. And then behind Blade, we see a single card come flying out of the doorway.
Is it Mel Gibson as Maverick?
It is not Mel Gibson as Maverick. Mel Gibson is not in this movie, surprisingly, even though they made a few Mad Max references already. But no, we see this card fly out, and then we see a hand come and grab it. It's Channing Tatum as Gambit. The Gambit movie that never was. The one that they were talking about for years that they were going to make, and then it got held in development hell and then never made.
And they reference it. And they lean hard.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So after the slow-mo stops and they're all standing there, then Deadpool starts talking to him, and he's like, he looks at Jennifer Garner, he looks at Elektra, he's like, you wonder. She's like, Elektra. Oh, Elektra. And then he looks at Blade. He's like, and you, I was not expecting to see you here. I thought you were retired. And then I love that this is Wesley Snipes' first line in this movie. He just looks at Deadpool and is like, retarded. And then Deadpool's like, retired. I'm already in the void. I'm not trying to get canceled again.
Wesley Snipes is so, I don't know, like the Channing Tatum's great in this, and it plays into it well, but Wesley Snipes
is Blade.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, then he's like, then Wesley Snipes is like, the Blade's like, I don't like you. And Deadpool's like, you never did. Because, of course, Ryan Reynolds was in Blade Trinity with Wesley Snipes. And Blade did not like his character.
I like the white that Wesley Snipes is sporting in the goatee.
Yes, he's got in his goatee. Yeah, he's got that little white strip going down the center of it, showing his age. But it just looks great with him.
It looks great.
It's a great addition to his look.
Yes.
Then we get the introduction of Channing Tatum's Gambit.
Remy LeBeau.
Remy LeBeau. Papa Billy Blue. He's like speaking a deep Cajun accent.
It's great. I love it.
So I was so concerned, like from the minute I heard that they were talking about making a Gambit movie with Channing Tatum. So Gambit has always been my favorite X-Men.
He is like the cult fan favorite X-Men.
He has always been I've always liked him better than Wolverine. I mean, now Wolverine has moved way up in Wolverine's always been one of my favorites, but Gambit has always had a slight edge on Wolverine for me. And so I was like, when I found out that Channing Tatum was going to be playing Gambit in, a movie, in a standalone movie that they were going to do, I didn't think that Channing Tatum was the right choice for it. Honestly, I didn't think that he could do it. I mean, sure, he's great in some of his roles. He was fantastic in the 21 Jump Street movies, 21 and 22 Jump Street, and I just didn't think that he could do Gambit. But then seeing this, I will want that Gambit movie.
He leans into this so hard.
I want that Gambit movie now.
I mean, the script goes into it really hard, and he leans into it harder. And he fucking owns it.
Yes, he does.
It's just greater than what you can imagine. And he's like, people have been wanting a Gambit to be properly done for a long time.
I mean, he's even got the comic book costume going on.
Yeah. No, it's hard. I watched this, and the way he does it, I just thought I get Channing Tatum's gotten some accolades for other movies, and people can start recognizing his acting ability more.
Mm-hmm.
It's I saw this he's gonna fucking win an Oscar one day, isn't he?
He's probably
gonna find
will.
Some role.
He probably will.
That someone's gonna some director or director's gonna find the complete right role for him.
Yeah.
And he's gonna win it. And I was like, oh, Channing Tatum won an Oscar someday.
And it will be well deserved. Because there's so much to for the longest time, just like Leonardo DiCaprio in his earlier days of acting, and
that's what I thought.
It's always been, it's like, sure, Channing Tatum's been, good for certain parts, certain roles, but I never really saw him as a truly good actor. But he's in his more recent stuff, he's really starting to change my mind on his acting skills. And he was perfect for Gambit in this movie.
He was so good.
I love at one point when he's talking, when they're explaining, what happened with when they're going through the exposition dump of explaining Cassandra and what she's been doing with all of their allies and everything, and he starts talking. Deadpool's like, "Excuse me, who is your dialect coach? The Minions?" Yeah, so they're going on, and Deadpool's trying to convince them to join forces with him and Wolverine to go take out Cassandra, and so that they can get home.
Right.
and he succeeds.
Oh, well, we forgot to mention the there's a fourth member.
Yes, but she didn't come in until after their discussion with.
That's right. You're right.
Yeah, while he's trying to explain, he's trying to convince them to join him.
Right.
So Elektra picks up on what he's trying to do, and she actually starts going along with it, and she convinces the other two to go along with it too. They ask if they're ready, and Gambit, he's like, "Well, I know I shot out of my daddy's dick ready." What the? Really? He's like, "Yeah, my daddy laid the buttery nuts all up inside my mama." And I shot out and said, "Hey, Doc, what's up?" "Hey, what's up, Doc?"
I'm impressed that his father got his nuts all the way into his mother.
Yeah. They were buttery. I mean, with Cajun, it's a French influence there, so
yeah, they
maybe
they like their what do you call it? The
croissant.
Yeah, the croissant, right?
Yeah,
but like it's the
and
flake
the baguette.
pastry.
Oh, the crepe.
The crepe.
Some crepes. The flat pancake, like the.
I love the crepe.
Or like, maybe butter's baguette. But
it's flake pastry. You just call it flake pastry. That's what it's called.
Yeah,
flake pastry.
Flake pastry.
I don't know what the French term is, but
yeah.
it's flaky. And I don't know how he crawled out of his mother's womb and said, "Hey, what's up, Doc?"
Well, he shot out of his mother's womb. He shot out and said, "Hey, what's up, Doc?"
In perfect English.
Shot out of my mama and said, "Hey, what's up, Doc?" But yeah, so they explain that none of the three of them were who picked up Deadpool and Wolverine, and so Deadpool's like, "Well, who picked us up and who brought us here?" And that's when X-23 is introduced. Laura.
And this Logan, obviously, does not recognize. This Wolverine does not recognize.
Yeah, he does not recognize her because she was not part of his universe.
But he gets quickly told that the Wolverine in Deadpool's universe.
Yes, but was it that X-23 or was it a different one?
Well, a different X-23, I think.
Yeah.
With
a similar, So with a similar storyline to
X-23 and that.
Yeah.
But it's a different one.
Yeah. That's
because she has to be, so at least that's the way I interpret it.
I mean, but then with what happens later in the movie, I don't know. I don't know if it's the X-23 from Deadpool's universe or if it's a different one, because it would later in the movie, it wouldn't really make sense if it was the same, if it was a different one with what comes up at the end.
I don't know.
And we'll get to that. I don't want to
potentially.
All that
I think there's a potential way you could explain it, but
yeah. But anyway, so they're preparing to attack Cassandra's lair the next day, and that night, Wolverine is sitting out at the campfire by himself drinking, and X-23 comes out and sits next to him.
Cheers to you, Logan.
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine. Raise my glass to you.
But yeah, so Laura comes and sits down next to him and saying that they could really use his help, and he's refusing to go. Like he doesn't think that it's his fight. He doesn't want to get them killed.
He's still held back by guilt.
Yes, he's still held back by guilt. And this is where he goes into detail about what happened in his universe. So he mentions the suit that he's wearing and how he always hated it. But Scott always begged him to wear it. So did Jean. So did Storm. So did all of them. All the X-Men begged him to wear it and be part of their team. But he couldn't. He was too proud. He couldn't show that he cared for them. He couldn't show that he wanted to be a part of their team, no matter how much he might have wanted to. And so he would just go out and get drunk. And, as much as they begged, he would, not join them. And one night when he was out at the bar getting shit-faced,
the humans came.
And they decided to go mutant hunting. And so when he returned to the X-Mansion, everybody was dead. All of the mutants were dead. All the X-Men. Which, the humans would have had to have some big guns to do that.
Yes.
But yeah, so he's blamed himself ever since. Because he's thinking, if I were there, then I could have protected them. And, they called out to me. Every time they called, I'd just walk the other way. I wouldn't come to them. And so then he went after the humans and he slaughtered them. He turned the humans against mutants, like more so than they were. Because of what he did to them for what they did to his people. And so because of that, he doesn't want to be involved in other people's fights anymore. He doesn't want to, he doesn't want that to happen again. He doesn't want to feel like he's the reason why his friends are dead.
This is where it's good they have Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Because it's a movie that, again, it's not taking itself super seriously, but does inject a solid, it does inject some pathos to it. And Hugh Jackman helps take it even stronger and deeper. It really anchors it in something real. Yeah, and again, it's a Wolverine we never really met before that we know of, and we continue to actually care and have a stake in what's going to happen to him. Is he going to get his redemption?
Yeah. So, Laura tries to convince him again to come with them. But he won't. He says, he tells her, whoever you think I am, I'm the wrong guy. And as she's walking away, she's like, you're always the wrong guy. Or you were always the wrong guy.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And, she just walks off. And so then it's the next day, and we got the van driving through the wasteland. I love this. Elektra is driving. So it's a minivan. So they have the soccer mom driving.
It's perfect because it's basically what Jennifer Garner's kind of become.
Yep. So so Deadpool's riding shotgun. We got,
by the way,
Laura Gambit and Blade in the back.
Shout out to Jennifer Garner and 13 Going on 30.
Yeah. Yeah, she did a great job.
One of my favorite movies
in that movie.
Don't know if we'll do it, but I love 13 Going on 30. Rob can attest to that.
Yes, Tony loves that movie. It is a good movie, but
she's not a soccer mom in that, and that's okay. But
so
we might do Big though, so we'll see.
I mean, they're pretty much the same movie. Yeah, so there. Yeah, Wolverine's nowhere to be seen in the van.
No, he's not there.
Yeah, so so as they're approaching the the lair, Cassandra's lair, the dead giant man. Blade stands up at the sunroof, and they hand him an AT-4, a rocket launcher that belonged to the Punisher.
Yes.
And so
there's no Punisher and Daredevil.
Deadpool's like
they referenced us.
Deadpool's like, which Punisher? There were like 5 of them. And Blade's
only
like
3.
And no, because there was it's John Bernthal, the most recent Punisher. There's Thomas Jane. There's Ray Stevenson.
Oh, that's right.
Dolph Lundgren.
I forgot about the Ray Stevenson one.
And Dolph Lundgren. That's 4. And then there was the cartoon one also. That might be one of the 5th one he's referencing.
I forgot about the Ray Stevenson one. Thank you. All right.
So.
But there's no Punishers in Daredevil there, they said, right?
No, there's no Punisher in Daredevil in that one. No, well,
there's not.
Well, yeah, I mean the Daredevil Punisher is John Bernthal. So.
No, I'm saying there's no Daredevil or Punisher.
Oh, in the Void.
In the Void.
That they mentioned.
Yeah.
Oh, they did say that Daredevil was killed. Cassandra killed Daredevil.
That's right. They said that Daredevil was killed.
Yeah.
They didn't say which one.
Yeah, they didn't say which one.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, because when they mentioned that, then Deadpool, says I'm sorry to Elektra's like, I'm over it.
Hey, Jennifer, I don't blame you. I'm here if you need you. If you need me, I'm sorry. I have a shoulder, and,
It's okay, Jennifer. His wife's okay with it. I'm assuming. But no, that was I'm over it. That's a little reference to the fact that Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner used to be in a relationship, and he left her for J-Lo.
Strangely enough, we referenced Geely in the pre-show without even thinking about that connection.
Yep, without even thinking about that connection. But so when Deadpool asked which Punisher, there's like 5 of them. Then Blade's response is, "There's only ever been one Blade. There will ever only be one Blade."
I love I love Deadpool's look at the camera, breaking the fourth wall in this one.
Yep.
Even though it looks more like that, there will only ever be one Blade.
Yep. Because there's been a Blade movie that's been in development for a few years now, starring Mahershala Ali, and it's been in development hell.
Again, they could bring him back in a very Channing Tatum-like role.
Yes, they could. They could. Or they could finally, make the movie. According to Feige, it's still in the works. It's just been taken off the current schedule. But, yeah. We only
need Wesley Snipes' Blade. Only need Wesley Snipes' Blade.
So, so then Wesley Snipes, fires a rocket and blows open the gates, the hands to Cassandra's place. And they get in there, and all of Cassandra's mutants are standing there waiting for him. And there was also a part that we missed that night.
Wait, well, this part's important because they have to figure out how they're going to stop Cassandra because she's a very powerful mutant.
Yes. So that night before they decided that the best way to stop her is the only thing that can negate her powers would be Magneto's helmet.
Be like Magneto's helmet, but
Magneto's dead. Magneto was killed, and when Cassandra killed Magneto, she melted his helmet. So,
but then they realized that
Juggernaut has a helmet that can do the same thing. But Juggernaut is one of Cassandra's minions.
They got to get off his head.
Yeah. So the only way to get the only way to get the helmet off his head is to remove his head from his body.
Which, you know, if you watch any of these movies, easier said than done. I mean,
yeah,
they never took off his head, even in Deadpool 2. They just put a electrical wire up his butt.
Yes. But also that night we got a glimpse of Pyro in his search for Deadpool and Wolverine. He's at that little restaurant, that little diner where they had stopped off, and he's talking on the phone with Mr. Paradox. And
he's not happy with Cassandra's leadership.
He's not. And so, yeah, he makes a deal with Paradox that he'll kill Cassandra for his price. We don't know what his price is. What Pyro's price is, but yeah, Paradox agrees to it, to his terms. Yeah, and then we get the whole, them going to in the van.
I'm glad he brought this back up because I was thinking about this when I was watching it, because it's the same actor from X2 and The Last Stand, Aaron Stanford,
yes,
right? Who we also saw actually one of my favorite remakes, The Hills Have Eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But I think about it, even that was almost 18 years ago. And I was looking at him in this. It's like, oh yeah, like, okay. And I realized he's like 47 now, right? He's pushing 50, and The Last Stand, like, yeah, he seemed like a youngish guy.
Yep.
And now he definitely looks like a guy that's in his 40s, and that made me sad.
Yep.
Because, like, I'm getting old.
Yep. Me too.
Which is perfect.
That's what happens when we age.
Day by day. By day. By day. But there's more to that, which we'll get to later. Anyhow,
yes.
So yes.
They get
Pyro is actually plotting against Cassandra.
Yes. So secretly. So they get into the compound, into the lair, and they all get out of the van. It's going to slow motion showing each person getting out of the van.
Yeah.
And then they all go up and they line up. And then the tailgate opens on the van. And out comes Wolverine, who's just whole time, he's just been chilling in the trunk.
He's chilling in the trunk of him. Like, this is like a new minivan. Like, there's not much trunk in these minivans. He's just been
chilling in the trunk of the minivan for this whole ride. Just
this is not some 1980s station wagon.
I mean, this is Hugh Jackman. He must have been like curled up in the fetal position back there the whole time.
Waiting for this grand entrance.
But yeah, he gets out of there and he goes up and he joins everybody else. So he did come along. And so then a big battle ensues.
Classic comic battle.
And I love in this battle, each person in their team gets their own little spotlight. They get their moment in the spotlight.
I love it.
And and I love how every time that they're like, especially back in the hideout, anytime that they're talking about what they lost, when they were pruned or whatever, what in their old world, and Elektra and Blade are talking about what they've lost or what happened, or Gambit, everything that he says is what might have been, or
He's like, I never actually existed.
He's like, maybe I was born here. I don't know. His movie was never made. But no, they each get their own little moment in the spotlight, moment to shine in this fight. It's great. But while they're fighting, Deadpool and Wolverine run up to meet up with Cassandra. And this is when we get the third act flashback.
Yes.
Cassandra sticks her finger in Wolverine's head.
Yep.
And taps into his brain and starts probing his mind.
Really see what's actually going on.
So we get Wolverine, Logan, walking through what I believe is a graveyard for the X-Men, a bunch of monuments.
That's what it seems like.
Headstone monuments.
Like Cassandra understands right away, like her, like Xavier had a certain love for Wolverine. That,
yeah.
In terms of like that he had the ability to be something really, really great.
Yeah.
And she wants to exploit that.
Yeah. And so, she's, talking to him, and, he's, going into a little bit more detail about, what happened with the X-Men and how he feels guilty and all that. And she's like, I can take those voices away. I can help you. I can, heal your mind.
Yeah. Right.
And all this just trying to manipulate him. Meanwhile, it's sort of cutting back to the fight outside, and we get Laura, X-23, going up against Juggernaut.
Yeah.
And he goes to turn toward her, and she does a power slide. She slides across on her knees and slices at his ankles, cuts his feet off.
That's right.
So he can't. Yeah, so he can't run because Juggernaut, of course, once he's in motion, nothing can stop him.
Nope. Yeah.
So she takes the whole being in motion thing out of play.
Loses momentum.
So, he kind of falls, and then she jumps at him, and then it cuts back to the inside Wolverine's head. And Deadpool at this point had been, once they walked in there, Cassandra threw him up against the wall and knocked him out. So I guess this is the one time that when he wakes up, he doesn't say Thor.
No. He's actually, he's focused.
Yeah. But instead we get Laura jumping up and climbing up the Paul Rudd's skull, Ant-Man's skull, to the eyeball like the eye socket where they are.
Yeah, the sockets.
And she's got a backpack, and Psylocke wraps her psychic whip around her and pulls her out.
That's right.
So she throws the backpack through the eye socket. And then we just see Deadpool's hand reach out and grab the backpack. So he's awake now, but he didn't say Thor.
Nope. And, Logan is getting closer and closer to kind of succumbing to Cassandra.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Cassandra, we start seeing the veins in her head popping, like getting, filling with the blood and like getting, like there's something affecting her.
Right. Yeah, she's changed.
And it cuts back out of Wolverine's mind, and Deadpool is standing there. He had just put Juggernaut's helmet on her.
And
he's holding it there.
Because, like it's so serious for a little while.
Yeah.
And then Juggernaut's helmet's on Cassandra.
Yeah, and she looks ridiculous. It just looks ridiculous. So they're like, let us out or we'll kill you. And she's like, no, I'm going to kill you. You take this helmet off of me and then I'll kill you. And, nobody's really gaining any ground here.
No.
And so, while Deadpool's holding the helmet on Cassandra's head, Pyro comes walking in and shoots her a couple of times in the stomach. And then he starts monologuing.
They always monologue.
But Wolverine's not going to he won't have it. So Pyro gets a few words out, and Wolverine punches him and knocks him out. And he's like, not everybody gets a speech.
I mean, it's important.
Yeah. So they're, trying to reason with Cassandra, but she's not having it. And then finally, Wolverine's just like, take the helmet off her. This is right after she told them that if they take the helmet off her, she's going to kill them. Both of them.
But he starts thinking
what Charles would have him do, because what he told her in like his mind when she was probing him was he wants to be the man that Charles always thought he was.
This is actually really important, like going back within the entire trilogy.
Yeah.
And how Colossus talks with Deadpool.
Yeah. About being a hero.
X-Men.
There's 4 or 5 moments. And so,
you know, it's not always the moment that you think you're supposed to be doing what you're supposed to do is being the big moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is a moment right here that he's taken away from what could be that huge moment of just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And letting this happen.
Yeah.
He's making a actual choice here in terms of like, no, this is what we should do.
Yeah. So he gets Deadpool to take the helmet off of her. And then before she can do anything, as soon as Deadpool takes the helmet off, she turns toward him, like raises her hand a little bit, and he's like, he cowers back. He's like, no, don't do me like you did Johnny.
She doesn't.
But yeah, so then, Wolverine reasons with her. He tells her, Charles was a great man. Charles loved us all. And she's, going on her little woe is me kind of thing where, yeah, you had Charles, I didn't have anybody. And he's like, Charles loved us all, and he would have loved you too if he knew you existed.
Right, yeah.
If he knew that you were here, he would tear the universe apart to bring you home.
No matter the cost of what it was.
Yeah.
Because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. And so that, gets her thinking, and she decides, okay, I'm going to help you guys. So she starts telling him about there was a magician that was here. Implying that Doctor Strange, one of the variants of Doctor Strange, was in the void. Because she pulls out a sling ring. And it's not just any sling ring. This particular sling ring has 2 Infinity Stones embedded in it. It's got the Time Stone and the Reality Stone. Because that is her way, because it's been implied that she can exit the void anytime she wants. She just hasn't wanted to. And this is how she can do it, because she has a sling ring that contains 2 Infinity Stones. The time and reality stones. So she can jump reality, she can jump through time, all this.
She just
if she wants to. She just doesn't do it because she likes living in the void. She likes being in charge of everything. So, she opens up the Marvel Sparkle Circle. So that they like a portal to Deadpool's universe, to the Fox universe. And she tells him, there it is, if you can beat Goliath to it. Because Goliath is on his way now.
Goliath National Bank.
Member FDIC. Yeah, so they jump out to it, and they get to it just as Goliath is passing over them. So we don't know right away if they survived or not.
Make it.
If they made it through.
And you see Elektra, Blade, and Gambit.
And
they're on the
Laura.
ground. They're looking up.
And everybody else is dead. Like all of the mutants that were there. They've killed everybody.
They've killed everybody.
The 4 of them have killed everybody. And so they're watching. They're looking up, watching. And then we're back in the Fox universe. We're back in Earth 10005.
Yes.
And Deadpool, it's the car dealership. And we have Peter, who is selling he made the final sale on that Kia Carnival to the family.
Until Deadpool lands on it.
And then, he's like, well, Deadpool and I are sales partners, so I'll make sure he gets half the commission. And as soon as he says that, Deadpool and Wolverine fall on the van and crush it.
There goes that sale.
Yep.
But you know what? Because Peter is a good man, does he get upset?
Nope.
No.
He's just happy to see his friend again.
That's right.
He's just happy to see Deadpool again. In costume, too. So
with Wolverine.
Yes, with Wolverine. Yeah, so they get up. The kids are like amazed that it's Deadpool. That's Wolverine. And as Deadpool's run away, Peter's like, I'll clock you out. Deadpool's like, forever. And Peter gets this proud look on his face. Gets this smile like, forever. Because Deadpool's finally, doing what he needs to do.
It's a good thing that Peter's right near the locker with his
Yes, it
Deadpool
is.
costume.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But so they run out to because so Mr. Paradox has the Time Ripper in Deadpool's universe, and he's going to use it to destroy Deadpool's universe, as he stated earlier. And so they're going toward the subway station where he's got it set up. And Cassandra comes walking out of the Marvel Sparkle Circle.
Right. Because she was able to get a Time Ripper from Pyro.
No, she's not able to get Time Ripper from Pyro. She's going to use Paradox's Time Ripper.
That's right. That's right. Sorry. So, yes.
Yeah, so Pyro comes walking out, and then...
I'll say Pyro comes out.
Yeah,
that's right.
Pyro comes out, and then Cassandra comes right behind him with her hand in his head. Breaks his neck.
And then breaks his neck, murders him.
Yeah, because she's there because after Pyro woke up, then she was going to kill him because he shot her. And then he explains...
I get that.
Yeah, so then before she can probe his mind, he's like, I'll tell you. Just ask sometime. Ask sometimes. You don't always have to get handsy. So yeah, he tells her the plan with Mr. Paradox, what they were planning. And so that's what prompts her to go to Deadpool's universe.
And you gotta remember, they're perfectly happy with Cassandra being in the void and just ruling there.
Yeah.
Because she's a level 5 mutant.
Yeah.
Which means she's basically limitless power.
Yeah.
And they don't really want that in any of the other universes.
No.
So if she's in the void,
then she can't do any harm to the other universes. And so she kills Pyro. She breaks his neck and then walks out to Deadpool and Wolverine and they're like, where's Paradox and the Time Ripper? And she's like, oh, it's okay. We're on our way to destroy the Time Ripper. So don't worry. We got it. And she's like, I don't want to destroy it. I'm going to use it. And Paradox shows up and she mind probes him.
She really goes to town on him.
Yes. So then, Deadpool welcomes Mr. Paradox to the Skullfuck Club.
Yeah.
So they...
And, after she's done skull fucking them...
then she drags him down the stairs to the subway station.
Yeah.
So that he can lead her to the Time Ripper. Meanwhile, Deadpool and Wolverine... and she sends Deadpool and Wolverine flying through a store window.
Yes.
To get them out of the way. And that storefront... so it's a shoe store. And we see the name of it as they're climbing out through the window. That store is called Liefeld's Just Feet. Rob Liefeld, of course, is the creator of Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
Who always had trouble drawing feet. As we discussed briefly in the Deadpool 2 episode.
Yes, in Deadpool 2.
So it's just another reference to that. That's great. I love it. It's another little meta reference.
Yeah.
But they get out of there because through the Marvel Sparkle Circle, Dogpool comes running out.
And Deadpool's excited.
Deadpool's excited because, there's Mary Poppins. And then, of course, Nice Pool comes running out behind her.
Like, fuck.
Yep.
And then the entire Deadpool core.
The entire Deadpool core comes out. 100 Deadpools. And so here are just a few of the members of the Deadpool core.
Well, I like just the floating skeleton head.
Yes. So the first one that we see walking out is Ladypool, who, leading up to this movie coming out, nobody knew who was playing Ladypool. The two top theories were that it was either Taylor Swift or Blake Lively. Blake Lively, of course, is Ryan Reynolds' wife.
Yes, which would make sense.
But Taylor Swift is also a close friend of Blake Lively, and so there was a rumor going around that she would be playing Ladypool. But it turns out it's Blake Lively, even though she's wearing a mask, so you don't really see who it is anyway, but it's her voice, and so, yeah. So Blake Lively plays Ladypool, and then we have Kidpool and Babypool, who are played by Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's daughters. Their baby daughter and their child daughter. And gotcha. I love how Kidpool, like all the Deadpools have guns. Kidpool has water pistols.
Yes. It's appropriate.
And then there's also Cowboy Pool, played by Matthew McConaughey. And as you already mentioned, Headpool. Just the flying head. He's got a propeller hat, and it's a skull with the half a Deadpool mask and a propeller hat. And that Headpool, do you know who voices Headpool?
No.
Nathan Fillion voices Headpool.
I like it.
So they start firing their guns at Deadpool and Wolverine. Meanwhile, Deadpool is he grabs Nice Pool and uses him as a shield, and then jumps behind a car with Wolverine where he had gone, because Wolverine is holding Mary Poppins right now. And so he jumped behind a car, and we find out that Nice Pool can't regenerate.
He starts having a heartfelt moment.
Yes.
About his death.
So, yeah, and then Deadpool's like, well, how long does it take you to regenerate? And he's like, regenerate? So then Deadpool looks over and he sees a donut cart. He's like, it's a donut cart. They sell mobile triage units. So he grabs Nice Pool, holds him up, and
still uses him as a shield.
Still uses him as a shield.
He can't be the shield now. Yeah. He could be the shield now.
So he gets about halfway over there and stops. And Nice Pool's like, "Why are we stopping?" He's like, "I'm resting." You're heavy. Why aren't you helping? Why aren't you walking? He's like, "'Cause I'm paralyzed." Meanwhile, he's still getting shot all up in the back. So Deadpool's like, "Look at me, Nice Pool. You're going to be okay. You're going to survive. You're going to make it. Say it with me. I'm going to make it." And as soon as he starts to say, "I'm going to make it," he gets his head blown off. His head just explodes all over Deadpool's face. So Deadpool, runs the rest of the way carrying Nice Pool's corpse with him to the donut cart.
He basically has to throw the corpse away.
Yep. He has to throw the corpse away. But
he shows up.
I love it. Wolverine then just stands up, holds Dogpool up, stands up, and everybody stops. Stop shooting because they don't want to. They don't want to hurt Dogpool. They don't want to hurt Dogpool. Everybody loves Mary Poppins.
Apparently, they didn't like Nice Pool as much, but they love Mary Poppins.
Yeah. So he walks over to the donut cart, and when Deadpool reveals that now he has 2 gold-plated 50 caliber Desert Eagle pistoleros.
Now he's actually happy.
He's like, he died being a hero, and he's like, he died by murder. So,
those Desert Eagles will be put to good use.
Yes, they will.
Well,
so
kind of,
yeah,
I guess.
so Wolverine puts Dogpool down, and they decide that they're going to go fight all these Deadpools, and Wolverine's excited because he gets to kill 100 Wades.
Oh, and he gets to get in an enclosed. He gets to be a Wolverine in an enclosed space.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I love. He's in this costume. He gets in this crouch.
But here's the thing. So while they're like doing their slow motion walk over to the street, if you look behind them, right next to the shoe store, Liefeld's Just Feet, it's a building that says Pharmacy Medical Center.
I did see that. Yes.
So, I mean, it's a pharmacy, and that means they could at least get bandages and stuff there. But if it's a medical center also...
Maybe Nicepool could survive.
Maybe they could have gotten some help. Maybe they could have gotten one of those mobile triage units from there. East Side Pharmacy Medical Center.
Anyway.
And on the other side of the shoe store is First Class Martial Arts.
Wow.
Which has to be a reference to X-Men First Class.
Yeah.
So then we get this amazing oneer. It's like one shot. A oneer is basically one shot camera panning through all this.
I just love how
they do this.
Wolverine just starts to attack. He's down.
But first off, they're walking up there, and Wolverine reaches behind his head, and he puts his mask on, his Wolverine mask that everybody's been waiting for. It's awesome. Looks so badass in it.
So badass.
So yeah, then they both charge toward the Deadpool core, and this oneer was done practically. Like
I believe it.
It was like they actually shot it all one shot, one take to get through this whole camera shot. I mean, sure, they had CGI elements that they added to it later, but it was all actors
like all
going up against each other, and yeah, it was all done practically. And as they're cutting their way through all the Deadpools, they get to a bus.
Yep.
And as they are killing their way through the bus, there's a brief glimpse of the side of the bus. And you know what's on the side of the bus?
Stan Lee.
We have our Stan Lee cameo. There is an ad for Stan Lee Steamer. With a picture of Stan Lee. And so, they cut through there and break out the back window of the bus. And they get there and Wolverine's in his Wolverine pose. And he's just like looking around, waiting for the next Deadpool to attack. And then they find out that all of those Deadpools in the Deadpool Corps can regenerate because they're all getting up and they're coming after him. Then we get another Deadpool riding a bike.
And it's Peter.
It's Peter wearing Deadpool's costume. He went to his locker at the car dealership and he got Deadpool's costume out and he put it on. And he's got a slight, he's got a slight haunch.
He's got a belly.
He's got a little bit of belly, and so it's starting to break the zipper a little bit on the front of the suit. And he's got his gigantic bulge. Because, of course, Peter's got to have a huge bulge. So he calls out to the Deadpools and, tells them to stop. And Kidpool realizes that's Peter. And everybody loves Peter.
Peter's revered in all the timelines.
Every Deadpool has a Peter. And every Deadpool loves their Peter. And so they all crowd around Peter. And Deadpool and Wolverine, kind of duck away, and they go to the subway station where they meet up with Mr. Paradox.
Yes.
To find out how to stop Cassandra and destroy the Time Ripper. And at first he won't tell them until Wolverine threatens him, because he's like Batman, only he can move his neck. He's intimidating like Batman, only he can move his neck. And so he explains to them that there's basically the Time Ripper works by mixing matter and antimatter.
Right.
To destroy, to basically nullify everything in the universe. And so there's two different feeds that go into one's matter, one's antimatter. And if one of them were to, either Deadpool or Wolverine, if one of them were to go down there and use themselves to complete the circuit between the two, then it would overcharge the machine and it would explode. The machine would explode and kill Cassandra and stop the Time Ripper from working to destroy the universe. And so, they go running out there toward it, and Deadpool decides that he's got to be the one to do it, and Wolverine tells him, "No, you've got a family you got to save. I got nothing."
This is such a classic scene here.
Yeah,
you see this in any number of movies.
Yeah, so he's like, "You got a family to save. Let me do this for you." And so as Wolverine is walking toward the door to go down to below the Time Ripper, Deadpool hits him in the face with a fire extinguisher, and sort of tosses him behind him and goes through the door and locks it behind him. And then we get a fun little sequence of, him saying goodbye.
It's not nearly as dramatic as it would be on network TV.
Yeah, because before, when Wolverine was going to go, when he was going, he's like, "Tell your friends hi for me." And then he gets hit with the fire extinguisher. And then Deadpool's like, "Hey, Wolverine, tell my friends hi for me." And then, he keeps on, cutting back. Does the mime stares, and looks like he's like trying to fly through the air through the little window in the door, and all this because he's stalling for time, because he's like, "I've never been afraid to die before." He's like, "I think I'm worried about dying."
But why?
Because if either one of them, they're both like, "Hey, we can like." We withstand it because we can survive anything. But what Paradox explains to them is that if you go down there and you connect the two, then it's antimatter, it's matter and antimatter combining inside your body. You'll be atomized. Meaning,
that's not good.
Even somebody with a healing factor, there's no coming back from that.
No, that's it.
So that's why it's such a big sacrifice that they're trying to fight over who's going to do it. Kind of similar to another movie, Endgame. I'm just going to leave it with that. Because I don't want to spoil anything for that. but yeah, so Deadpool goes down there. He grabs like, looks like a bunch of cables going up through a pipe. Right. So he grabs that, and he's trying to reach over to get the other side, but he can't reach it. Meanwhile, Wolverine is, trying to ram the door to break through it.
Yeah, because he's strong. He's using all his force to try to break it down. Why
doesn't he just use his claws?
Yeah, well, when I was watching, I thought that's what he's going to try to do. He's going to try to slice through the doors.
He has adamantium claws. I'm guessing that's just a steel door. Adamantium can cut through steel, no problem.
Right.
He does it all the time. He's cut through doors before. Why doesn't he just cut through this door? It's a lot quicker than just running into it trying to bust it open.
Yeah, right. No, this part can kind of confuse me too.
But anyway, and it keeps on showing the screen that has the percentage of the life left in the universe, percentage
it's getting down below 10%
for time of until the universe is destroyed, and Deadpool can't quite reach the other side, and he's not going to be able to do it. Then all of a sudden, Wolverine appears.
Madonna comes on the air.
Yes, Wolverine appears, grabs Deadpool's hand, and then reaches the other hand out and extends his claws into the pipe. And as soon as he does that, the choir version of Madonna's Like a Prayer starts playing, which, okay, so I've never been a huge fan of Madonna.
No, I'm with you.
I've never been a fan of really really a fan of Madonna in general. I love this version.
How they use this.
Yes, I love how they use it too. And this is just a great version of the song too. Because it's really good as a choir version, really. But I love how they take a song that is essentially about giving a blowjob, and they make it heroic.
Yes,
and it's so fitting with Deadpool because the subject nature of the song to begin with, and then how they turn it into a heroic song.
Yes.
So
I mean,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as soon as Wolverine, as soon as his claws hit the pipe, then his shirt explodes.
Yes.
Why his and not Deadpool's?
His nipples can't contain his shirt anymore.
And yeah, it's just because. The only reason for that is because you got to show Hugh Jackman's abs.
Yeah.
It's not a Wolverine appearance without showing Hugh Jackman with his shirt off.
You'd rather have his abs and Ryan Reynolds' abs. So, not me. I am okay without the abs. But there are ladies out there.
Yeah. The ladies who are seeing this movie want to see Hugh Jackman's abs.
Yeah. Even now, like there'd be women that will just want to watch a Hugh Jackman movie, regardless what it's about.
Yeah. And what's great here
it could be about the Canadian fur trade.
It could be.
And they would watch Hugh Jackman's abs.
Yep. And what's great is the main reason Hugh Jackman didn't want to do Wolverine anymore, why he wanted to stop playing him, was because he got tired of the workouts that he had to go through in order to get the Wolverine body.
I don't blame him.
Yeah. He got tired of the dieting and the constant exercising and just everything. And yeah, it's a lot of work to get that body. And then he comes back in this with more ripped than he's ever been in any other Wolverine appearance.
Yeah. He did it. Thumbs up, Hugh.
So it's like the reason he left Wolverine, he came back even harder. So yeah, they complete the circuit, and Madonna's playing the choir version of Madonna's playing, and then we see Cassandra being overloaded by the Time Ripper, and the thing explodes and kills her.
Yes.
Atomizes her. And then the TVA shows up.
They show up.
B-15, Agent B-15, the new director of the TVA since the events of Loki, comes in to basically arrest Paradox because he went rogue.
Yes.
And Paradox is trying to explain, Cassandra came in here, and if it weren't for those two heroes that went in, I tried to stop her, but I couldn't. And then they came in, and they, they're heroes. They saved the universe. And then they come walking up. Deadpool and Wolverine come walking up, and Paradox is like, why aren't you dead? He's like, you were right. If one of us would have died, but when you put a Deadpool and a Wolverine holding hands, listening to Madonna, there's no killing that.
I got the line.
Okay,
give me a second. I saved a line.
Okay,
if you put a Deadpool and a Wolverine together and make them hold hands while listening to Madonna, indestructible motherfucker.
Yeah, that's it, indestructible motherfucker.
Because as you said, he thought they're both going to be dead by combining, but the two of them together, hey, add in Madonna.
Yep. So Paradox gets arrested, and B-15 tells one of her TVA agents to
arrest Deadpool.
To send Deadpool back to his own reality.
Yes.
Or to send him back to the Void with the rest of the Deadpool Corps. And Peter comes in, and he's like, nope, this one's homegrown. He's from this universe.
Peter is
still wearing the Deadpool suit. He just doesn't have a mask on. He doesn't have the mask on. And B-15 is enamored with him.
Yes. It's like, you look good in that suit.
She's like, who are you? I'm Peter Pool, but you can call me, but I'm Peter Pool, but you can call me Peter. Please do. I hope you do.
How he tries to, he tries to stand tall.
Yeah.
Perfect posture.
Yep.
He still has the belly going around a little bit, jiggling in the spandex.
Oh yeah.
She's like, oh, but you look good.
Yeah, she's like, and as for you, you look good in that suit. You look damn good in that suit. And meanwhile, the TVA agents that are there are like drooling over Wolverine with his shirt off.
By the way, we forgot the use of the Goo Goo Doll's iris.
Yes.
In this movie.
Yes. That because it's playing when they're walking up from destroying the Time Ripper.
And it plays right before Wade jumps to try to find the different Wolverines too.
That too, yes. Yes, it does.
It's a bridge between the two.
Yep.
So, yes.
Yep. So
we'll do City of Angels one day.
Yeah, so Wade gets tired of Wolverine taking everybody's attention, so he gives them a jacket to put on.
Yeah, he does. I mean, hey, yeah, good plan.
But yeah, so B-15, looks at her little TVA tablet thing and sees that whatever they did not only fixed the timeline, but stopped it from dying, like revived it. So it's no longer dying.
It's fixed. No. Yeah. That current timeline and universe for Deadpool.
So yeah, Deadpool's timeline is saved. And so she's like, what can we do to repay you? And he's like, well, I promised my friend here that you could fix his universe.
And they can't do that.
Change the things that you fix it. And she's like, well, you mean change the past? The past that made you who you are now? There's nothing to fix.
Yeah. The past made Wolverine, right? That's what made him be able to help Deadpool to stop what Cassandra was doing. They fixed that. He can't do that.
Exactly. And so then Deadpool's like, well, we had some friends in the void. Could you bring them home? She's like, I'll see what I can do. And then they are back in. So then we get Deadpool asks Wolverine if he wants shawarma.
Right.
And Wolverine's like, I could eat.
Harkens back the Avengers.
Yep.
And so they even reference it. Because Deadpool says that the Tony Stark popularized shawarma.
No, so what it is, so it shows a shot of the two of them sitting on a bench outside the shawarma place. And they're eating shawarma. And here's another reference to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Because there's a shot in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with Steve Martin and John Candy in a very similar position. I think one of them sitting on a bench, like Steve Martin sitting on a bench and John Candy standing up on the other side of the bench or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very similar shot.
It is.
It's also on one of the posters for the movie.
Yes.
For Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. But it's just another little reference to that movie. But that's when Deadpool tells Wolverine, he's like, the Avengers discovered shawarma.
Which is not really true.
No, it's not true.
Tony Stark was aware of it.
Yes.
And then he introduced it to the Avengers.
Yes, because he's like, I saw a shawarma place like down the road. You guys hungry? But no. Yeah, so the joke is that the Avengers discovered shawarma. And then that's when Wolverine, because earlier when they were in the little diner, Wolverine mentioned that he was trying to get in the Avengers, and Deadpool said he was trying to get in the Avengers, and Wolverine's like, fuck the Avengers. Because, I mean, he hates the Avengers because they didn't help the X-Men in his universe.
Yes.
They allowed them to all die. So he hates the Avengers.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
But at this point, after he says the Avengers discovered shawarma, then Wolverine's like, they'd be lucky to have you.
Yep.
So he and Deadpool, their relationship grew. It strengthened throughout the course of the movie.
Because of heart.
So then Wolverine stands up to walk away because this is his universe now. He's part of Deadpool's universe now.
By the way, this next part is also very reminiscent of planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yes, it is. And it's very fitting for this movie also.
Because
as Wolverine's walking away, Deadpool calls out Logan. Like the whole movie, he's been calling Wolverine. He calls out Logan.
Name.
Yeah. And Logan stops. And the whole thing with him before was, he left the X-Men. He would leave them. They'd call for him. He would not come back. He'd go drinking. He'd go do his own thing.
Whatever he wants to do.
Because he didn't want to be associated with them. He didn't want to show them that he cared, which he did care. He just didn't want to show them that he cared.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he had a reputation to uphold. He had,
Mm-hmm.
And Deadpool calls out to him. He's like, Logan. And he stops and he turns around and goes back to Deadpool. And then the next shot, they're in Deadpool's apartment with everybody, with all the Deadpool's friends, everybody that was in there at the beginning. And there's an addition to that group. Actually, 2 additions to that group. We have Dogpool, Mary Poppins, who Deadpool is introducing to Blind Al, which we forgot to mention when they were walking through the wasteland earlier. He's telling Wolverine about his roommate, Blind Al. It's like, you call your roommate Blind Al? He's like, what? She's blind.
Like, she's okay with it.
It's like, what? She's blind. So the other addition is Laura is there. So the TVA was able to get her out of the void. And so this is where if it's the same Laura, then it would be just fine. If it's a different Laura than what was in what was in Logan, then that would mean that there are now 2 Lauras walking around this universe.
Yes.
2 X-23s. But if it was the same X-23 from Logan that got sent to the void, then she'd just be back in her own reality now.
Exactly. But it also brings up the question, like, okay, what happened with the other 3?
Yeah. Which we don't know that just yet, but
there's a deleted scene.
There is a deleted scene, which was actually put back in a way to the post-credit scene. So we have the credits roll, and during the credits, there's a real nice, and it's just, usually there's like a mid-credit scene and then a post-credit scene also. But the mid-credit scene here isn't really a scene; it's more of a tribute to the Fox Marvel movies.
I loved this part.
So did I. They start playing Good Riddance,
which is a song I fucking hate.
Me too. And it's always put for things like this.
Guess what?
And it's overused for this kind of stuff.
It is used well here.
But it was perfect for this. This time it was perfect.
But it's perfect because like it actually makes all these shitty movies actually mean something.
Yes. It's just it's a montage of all the different Fox Marvel movies. Not all of them, but
I shouldn't say all shitty because some of them are actually good. Like it has the first X-Men. It's got like interview of like Hugh Jackman when he like first took the role of Wolverine.
Yeah.
For the first X-Men movie.
Yeah.
So it's like more than just the shitty movies.
Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds when he first took the role of Deadpool in X-Men Origins.
But you got Jennifer Garner talking about Elektra. You got all these things about all the Fox,
there's
X-Men.
Clips from the movies, from not even just the X-Men, but from Fantastic Four, from Daredevil, from just all the different Fox properties.
And it means like, so like, okay, so maybe some of these movies worked out, maybe some didn't, maybe some TV shows did not work out, but you know what? Like you look at them and like, okay, this is some of them like sometimes some way like outtakes.
Yeah, some was outtakes, some was behind the scenes stuff, some was just
like behind the scenes, just like they got cameras rolling behind the scenes.
Some were just brief clips from the movies.
Like these movies still like meant something to the actors, and writers, and directors, and like okay, some of the stuff was even before you were trying to make these massive universes. It's like okay, all right, the first X-Men movie was popular. We're gonna do this because Spider-Man was also popular.
Yeah. But it's a perfect little tribute to everything that Fox did with the Marvel Universe with their
I just think
end of things.
Honors the actors and directors and writers, the principal people that worked on these movies,
and it gives closure because when Disney bought Fox, it was kind of everything was up in the air. What's going to happen with all these characters? These movies, are they going to be just lost to time? Are they going to be absorbed into the MCU? What's going to happen with them? And it gives closure,
right? And like, okay, So maybe you don't watch the Marvel movies or the MCU movies, but you like Elektra. The movie still exists.
Yeah.
You have that movie, you watch it, you enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need anything else. If you enjoy that movie, watch it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
It exists. Be like Ben Affleck as Daredevil. All right. I disagree with you. Whatever. I don't care.
But if you enjoy
that.
Yeah, then enjoy it.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so then as that goes as the credits are rolling, and once that little tribute is done.
Unfortunately, there's no Dominic Monaghan, who was in X-Men Origins of Wolverine.
Yes, he was. So was Will.i.am.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if you noticed, but toward the end of the credits, right before the post-credits scene, in the special thanks section, did you notice a couple of the names that are in there? So most of it is, your typical special thanks,
usual
different people and companies that did, big things for the movie. But there are two that stick out.
Okay.
One is Truthful Timmy, the blowjob queen of Saskatoon. And the other one is Hugh Jackman Wrangler, Betty Reynolds.
All right, that's funny. I like that.
But the rest are just like your typical people and companies that did something to help out with the production.
Makes sense.
Yeah, then credits end, and we get the post-credit scene, which is Deadpool back in the TVA. He wants to show the video because he's like, I'm sick of you guys saying that I killed Johnny. That I got Johnny killed. Let's go to the tape. There was a camera above where Deadpool and Wolverine were tied up, and it shows the whole conversation between them and Johnny Storm. And Johnny says word for word everything that Deadpool tells to Cassandra. And then at the end of it, he says, and you can quote me. And then Deadpool's like, thanks. He's like, okay. And he's like, there, see? But if you look in one of the monitors to the left, like the far left of the screen, just before it shows the camera footage, we see that deleted scene that you had mentioned, where it's Gambit. Well, you got to look real close to that screen because it's one of the smaller monitors. It's over to the far left, but you see Gambit walking through the battleground after they killed everybody. He's walking through, walking across over all the dead bodies and everything, and he looks up and he sees that Marvel Sparkle circle that they jumped through, and it's to imply that. He eventually makes it out of the void.
Yes. He wants the other side.
So we know that they got X-23 out. They got Laura out. But we don't know if they got anybody else out yet. But it's heavily implied that Gambit will escape the void if he wasn't released by the TVA.
Right.
But yeah, then that's Deadpool and Wolverine.
It's Deadpool and Wolverine. It's such a great ending to the trilogy.
And yeah, it's a fantastic movie. I love it. It's my favorite of the three. I loved it.
This is my favorite of the three, too. So I'm fully on board with that. So and no questions.
So there's another interesting thing that I forgot to mention earlier. I meant to mention this at the beginning when we first started talking about the TVA. So the set designer for this movie.
Okay.
When he was designing the TVA sets. So if you notice, it's just the fine details in here that they think of, right?
There's a lot of details.
So there's a lot of copper in the TVA.
Right.
Copper color, copper leaf painted all over everything. So when the set designer set out to get copper leaf for this movie, for the sets, for the TVA sets, so he bought all of the copper leaf from, I'll let you guess, how many countries do you think he bought all of the copper leaf from in order to use for this movie? 75 countries.
Yes.
How many countries are in Europe? Because he bought all of the copper leaf in all of Europe. All of the copper leaf in Europe was used.
45
was
maybe?
Used in this movie. Was 45? Used for the TVA sets. Just the fine details you don't even really notice when you're watching.
No, you don't.
It's all background
Not
stuff.
At all. Yes,
but that's how detailed these sets were.
Whew.
So there was a copper leaf shortage in 2022 when they were filming this. 2022 or 23 or whenever it was they were filming this. 23?
Probably.
Yeah, it was 20. Yeah, they were filming 23. So apparently there's a copper shortage in Europe in 23 because of this movie, because it bought all of the copper leaf from the continent of Europe.
Yeah.
Just so they could paint it all over the TVA sets.
Yeah.
But
I
thought that was an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah, I would agree.
But anyway, so
next week.
Well, first off, if you want to follow us on social media,
yes,
we are on Facebook and Instagram. It's Rob and Tony's Cinematic Adventure. The and is spelled out. It's A&D. It's not an ampersand like it is in the name of the podcast. We are also on X or Twitter. That's R&T Cinematic. And if you want to check out our reviews on different movies, some that we've done on the podcast, some we haven't done on the podcast, some that we will do, some we won't do. But you can check out our Letterboxd. That is Cine Adventure or Cine Adventure, CINE Adventure. And then also, if you want to send us an email, let us know what you thought of Deadpool and Wolverine. Is it your favorite Deadpool movie? Is it your least favorite Deadpool movie? Do you think they could have done it better? Do you think you could have done it better if given the chance? Let us know. We want to know what you think.
Yeah.
Do you want to see more Deadpool and Wolverine team ups?
Do you want to see Deadpool team up with somebody else?
Yeah. Do you want to see Wolverine team up with somebody else?
Yes.
Whatever the case, let us know. Our email address is robandtonycinematicadventure@gmail.com. Once again, the and is spelled out A&D. It's not an ampersand like it is in the name of the podcast. But yeah, just let us know what you think. Are there certain movies you think we should cover? We want to know what you like, what you want to hear, because we want to give you some good conversations that will be pleasing to your ears.
We want to appease you, and we're more willing to speak about whatever you have
and
on your mind.
If you enjoy what you're hearing, if you enjoy what you're listening to, if you like the podcast, then, give us a like and a follow on our social media. Go to your favorite podcast app. Give us a good rating, a good review. That's how we move up in the standings and the search and the recommendations. And, just let people know that, you like what you're hearing here.
No, that's right.
And if you comment on our stuff or if you give us a good review, then we'd be happy to give you a shout out on one of these episodes.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
And so before we go on to next week's episode, there's something that I've been thinking about lately, Tony.
Okay.
And so I think there's something that our podcast is missing.
And what is that?
We need a theme song.
Theme song.
Yes. All the best podcasts have theme songs.
That's true.
And so I am going to put out a challenge to our listeners, or an opportunity, more of an opportunity than a challenge, but
okay,
an opportunity to our listeners.
I'm intrigued.
If any of our listeners out there, if any of you fine people listening to this podcast would like to come up with a theme song for Rob and Tony's Cinematic Adventure,
I like this.
Email us the file, put it together, put the song together, email it to us. Or, in another way, get it to us somehow, and we'll review it. If we like it, then it may become the theme song for the show. And then, we can actually have you involved in the creation of this podcast.
Correct.
Because as we know, the cover art for the podcast, it was created, was hand drawn. It was hand drawn by a friend of mine, Sarah Bilhimer. She did a fantastic job on it.
She did. Yes.
I love that artwork. And, I just thought it would be a good way to, get more people involved. Is, if someone out there with more musical talent than either of us has wants to put together a theme song for us, send it to us. We'll listen to it. And if we like it, it may become the new theme song of the show.
That's good exposure.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So anyway, next time, it's almost Thanksgiving.
And we're going to tie this in nicely.
Yes, we are going to tie it in nicely.
Not with just the Thanksgiving,
but with
the Deadpool trilogy.
Yes, with the Deadpool trilogy.
At least Sean Levy's
part
of the Deadpool trilogy.
So we've mentioned it a couple of times in this episode, but there are holiday movies out there for several different holidays. There's Groundhog Day, there's several Christmas movies, there's some New Year's movies, there's Valentine's Day movies, there's 4th of July movies, but there are 4th of July movies. There's not a whole lot of Thanksgiving movies.
No,
but there is one in particular that is definitely a Thanksgiving movie.
It's kind of the quintessential Thanksgiving movie.
Yes, it is. And that is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Steve Martin's so good at this.
Yes. So is John Candy.
Yes.
So the Steve Martin, John Candy classic, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, is the one that we are going to be doing next. It'll be released right at Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I think it's coming out the day before Thanksgiving, so it's just in time for it. And yeah, it's fitting because there were several references to it in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes a nice lead into it. But join us next time for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.